Okay, it says we're streaming. Okay, it says we're sending out the killabizzles. We've got activity in chat. Things are happening. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tech Talk.
Hey, what up?
Guys that hung out. All right, let me get a link. Here, where's the dashboard? I need my dashboard. Let me copy the link before I forget and send it out everywhere because people are definitely going to need it today because we're so late. That's on me too, by the way, guys. Sorry for being so late today. Oh, yeah, let me open up that other topic you sent me to. Let me send that over to... There we go. I will say this. I do like the Microsoft Game Pass, the monthly Game Pass. Not the one for the Xbox too, because it like doubles the price of it for some reason. I don't know why, but just for PC, I want to say it's like under $20 a month.
Sure.
Gives you access to like everything.
Nice.
All right, hey, what's up, Blue Varo? How's it going, man?
Hello, everybody. Hang on, let me pump this out.
Anthony's just waiting for them sex bots. I hear you, man. They're coming. What's up, Pele? Pele was the first chat message I saw. All right, let me send this out. Let me make sure. Is this the right link? I don't want to send the link to the dashboard. There we go. All right. Okay, so send it out. TikTok. TikTok is live. And where's the little, could do a little camera emoji for good measure. And let me grab the title. If I can grab the title. Is it going to let me grab the title or not? Let's find out today on, here's settings. Why are they making this so hard to grab? Just give me the title. Jesus. Edit. There we go. All right. I got it. I got it, man. I'm a pro at this. Look how fast I'm going.
So pro.
Fast as F, boy.
That's right.
All right. Let's see. Okay. Tech Talk is live. Come hang out. We discuss. Actually, I'll just do this. Just dump the topics. Boom. Let's go. All right, that's good enough. Okay, so Tech Talk is live. Copy that, and boom! It is now out to X. Now we're heading over to Blue Sky, to the Biscayes. Got to go to the Biscayes. What am I tangled on here? God damn! I got wires literally running everywhere in here. Everywhere. All right, go there. Oh, I have an extra space. That's fine. People forgive. It just adds authenticity. Actually, mistakes are a good thing to have now, and the stuff that you post online because it just proves, it's one more proof factor that you're not a bot. However, AI makes it easy for you to also make mistakes to look more human. So ultimately, we're going to hit a point where everybody just questions everything, and there's going to be no way to prove that you're not a human. Because remember how back in the day, they'd be like, oh, take a picture of yourself holding a sign that says like blah, 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 right? To prove that you're real. Yeah. Because it would take you too long to like Photoshop the image or whatever. Do it right now, and that'll prove that you're real. It's like now you just go to AI, like ChatGPT image 2 is like insane. Oh, he said I'm kind of quiet? Oh, shit. Okay, hold on. Check. How about now? Is that better?
Oh, hello?
Hold on. Check.
Check. I don't know. Is it,
Toast. No, there we go. I fixed it. No, you're fine. Your audio is great. It was mine for some reason.
I'm just copying you.
I don't know why my audio ducked like that. That was weird. We were playing with the audio settings earlier. I disabled the audio ducking, and now it's acting like it's back again. Let me see if it re-enabled when I reloaded. Audio, automatic gain control. There it is. Off. I want automatic gain control off. Get your stinking automatic gain control out of here. And now I got to go back into the control panel and bring it back up. Here, how do I go? Speakers. Hold on. I've got so many. Here, I'm curious in chat. How many audio devices do you guys have on your computers? Because like everything is an audio device now. There's so many audio devices now. So it's like I click on my audio device to select an audio device. All three of my screens have an audio device, HDMI, so the Nvidia audio device. Then I have a USB audio device that runs the transducers on my racing rig. So that's 7-channel audio device. Then I have the Rode mixer, which shows up as 2 audio devices, the multi-channel and the single channel. And then I have 2 other audio devices that I don't even know what's creating them. I've never actually used them, but there's like other devices plugged in via USB that are advertising an audio device. Yeah. So I think one of them might be like USB headphones or something like that. But it's just, dude, it's so many fucking audio devices. I remember back in the day when it was considered like you were elite if you had one sound card, let alone 752,900 of them. How do I, adjust volume and balance settings. How do I open up the old control panel? I literally just did this and I already forgot how. Where is, here it is. Run DLL 32, shell 32 DLL, control run DLL, mmsys.cpl. There it is. So mmsys.cpl. I need to remember that because I always need to get in here, and with every update to Windows, they make it harder and harder. All right, let me go to my levels. Okay, I'm going to bring my levels up now that I disabled automatic gain control. So check.
Hello.
All right, there we go. Now I should be the same volume as Aux, give or take.
Good.
Here, I'll put it at 70. There we go. Okay. Now I've got my audio mixer set up. I can still just barely clip. Okay, close that. Okay, go back to what I was doing. Okay, Tech Talk is live. Send that out. Hit OK. Next. Now we should be on Facebook, Blue Sky, X, and the one that I am missing is Discord. We got to go over to Discord. Tell them we're live there, too. I forgot I closed Discord earlier. So let me kill that. And I did post it on X. Yes, I did. Okay, so go to the channel. Do everyone. Tech Talk is live. Okay, there we did. We did it. It's actually Brewbot already did it for me. Brewbot's like killing it. Brewbot iron detects hype levels rising. AI is too powerful. Cyberattacks climbing. Job shifting. Yeah, that's a spicy Tech Talk lineup. That's crazy. So it already pulled the title and used it in a prompt to get more text to post. That's cool. Just remember, trust AI like you trust overclocking. Respect the power, watch the temps, but don't walk away while it's running. That's actually really good. And you would dive into the stream. What topic? Dude, that's crazy. Like Brewbot's badass. If you guys haven't noticed on the Discord server, we have a new bot in town. It's called Brewbot. It's powered by HiCap AI as the back end, which is an AI provider. They're like the middlemen that sell access to 50 or 100 different AIs, so you can use them all interchangeably using OpenAI compatible protocols. So if you have a program or you have a script that can play with OpenAI, it can play with everything. Doesn't matter if it's Anthropic's models, doesn't matter if it's OpenAI's, doesn't matter if it's Gemini or Google's or even Facebook's, right? It makes no difference. All the models are accessed at the same level, the same way, which I think is really cool. I like that idea of doing it. And then they do the way that they break down the cost structure is instead of signing up to 20 different AIs that all have different payment plans, different costs per token, and everything like that, they just have their own coin, like their own unit of currency that you buy, and then that translates to the different values of the different tokens, so that you just have your credits, and then you have your tokens, and it's all transferable, so you can jump between multiple different AIs, and it's like if one AI costs more than the other AI, it just needs more credit. Because the tokens aren't all created equally. Different tokens cost different amounts with different AIs and stuff like that. But it's pretty cool. I don't think they're open to the general public yet again. Tech Brewbots in chat can clarify that for me. At some point, they will be having regular, one-on-one customers. But right now, I think they're only serving corporate customers for this moment in time. But it's not always going to be that way. They're going to go back to serving like regular people too. But I guess you could say in a way, it's like they're an unofficial sponsor of the channel because they've provided me with a shitload of tokens. And I mean like a metric shitload of tokens. Like honestly, if I had to take a stab at it, I've easily burned over $1,000 in credit. Now, does that translate directly to $1,000? They do a lot of testing. They get a lot of free credits from people while they're in the testing phase and stuff like that. But still, it's like I've burned through easily $1,000 worth of credits. I know it's a lot more than that, but I'm just gonna say $1,000. AI gets expensive, and the more the bigger the models, the more expensive they are to run. It's the whole David and Goliath story. Let me see that. Okay, so I sent out, do a double check. Sent out to Discord, sent out to Facebook, X, Blue Sky, Stream. I think I filled out everything I was supposed to. I added the tags. We did. I think we're good. I think we're good to just start yakking it up. I've got my dashboard open. Let me move that over here so I can see it. Gotta have your dashboard. Oh, you know what? That's what I'm missing. I need to break out chat. Because I'm sitting here reading chat in this tiny little window in OBS. I'm like, I can break it out here. Break out chat. There it is. Put that there. And then the activity feed, which I can get from ground control. So let me open up ground control. Dude, this is fucking crazy. So I want to ask a question to you, and then I'll ask it to the greater audience here. Have you been noticing a massive increase in captchas? Like the number of sites that are asking you if you're human and the ways that they're asking you're human? Or is it seem about normal for you?
No, but then I don't, I'm already logged in all the places that would bother, so no.
The reason I'm saying this is I wonder if it's because I'm using so much AI, and also because I use VPNs and I use AI together. Cloudflare is like does not like me now. Like Cloudflare, it's like I go to any website and 1 out of 3 times I hit refresh on it, it's like, oh, we need to do a human check. Check the box to make sure you're human. So then I do it. Sometimes I have to click that box 5 times before it finally accepts I'm a human. The other day I did it 11. I just wanted to see if it was just going to infinitely put me in a loop. And after 11, it let me out. So now I'm getting a weird one. So I went to Reuters to look at this Anthropic topic we're going to talk about. And it says, oh, we need verification. So it's showing me an image or it can play me a sound and I have to type in the number I hear. And it says, why this step is needed. We've detected unusual activity from your device or network. Keep in mind, I am not on a VPN right now. The IP that it's showing on the screen is actually my real IP. So no VPN. I'm not doing anything, yet it still suspects me. It says, it's noticed rapid taps or clicks, JavaScript disabled or not working, which is not true. This browser has full JavaScript. Automated bot activity has been seen on your network before from this IP address. I haven't gone to this Reuters site for over a week, or even more, 2 weeks, since last time we talked about a topic that had a site on here. So that means that they're getting data from somewhere else saying that there was weird bot activity. Now, I'm not saying there wasn't bot activity. I was programming some bots and doing some stuff last week. But, and it also says detected use of developer or inspection tools. So here, let me try to get past. Okay, it says I have to slide right to secure my access. So it has a slider bar, and I have to slide the slider bar over until it's over the top of another arrow and then release. And now it lets me in. So, and I know that one's not Cloudflare because Cloudflares look completely different. You can kind of see there's like a calling card for each one of these like protection sites, right? There's Cloudflare. I can't remember the other major. There's another major one that's almost as big as Cloudflare. But there's all these sites that become like middlemen to protect websites, right? They multicast them. They protect them from DDoS, attacks and redirect DDoS attacks. Well, they also control captcha access to keep bots out of these sites. And I've noticed that they've just been like ratcheting down the protection. Maddie Rock said, what browser are you using? This is Edge. This is Edge that I'm using right now. But this is something that's recently started happening. Like I did not see, probably in the last month, I've noticed this huge ratchet up, especially. And it might be this IP address. Maybe I change my IP address and it wipes the slate clean and it stops bugging me again. But sites do not trust that I am human. Like I go all over the place. And it really doesn't matter what browser either because it does the same thing when I was in Firefox the other day. The only thing I can think of is I disabled browser fingerprinting. So I went out of my way to disable browser fingerprinting so that the WebGL method to create the browser fingerprint doesn't work in most of my browsers now. But Edge is one of the ones it doesn't work in, which means they're still able to get a perfect browser fingerprint. So I have no idea why they're thinking that I'm a bot and making me. But here's the thing I don't get. It's making me jump through the hoop of answering a captcha. Did you know that AI like 3 years ago could answer captchas, the cloud ones? Now local AIs can do it. A local vision capable, a 4 gigabyte model like Gemma can solve a complicated captcha. So there's really no freaking reason at all to have captcha when the AI can just solve them, right? The only thing you're really hoping for is maybe the cost of having to use AI on some level might deter bots because, the number of attempts that they might need to get what they need. They have to go each time if they have to answer multiple captchas. That might get expensive from just running the AI perspective. But the fact that AI can do it and it can answer, you don't need a human present. It's almost pointless. It's like more of an inconvenience for the user than it is the bot. Irene said, what developer tools do you have to do with... Oh, what do developer tools have to do with anything? Exactly. Isn't that weird that it mentioned the use of developer tools? First of all, how does it know that I'm using developer tools? That's the first one. And second of all, if I am using a developer tool, why would that make me suspect of being a bot? Like, I understand that if you were creating a bot, you would use automation and most likely you'd use developer tools. So that logic stands. But people use developer tools all the time. When was the last time you hit F11 to do like inspect element or something?
Not
a lot.
I think F11 is full screen anyway, but it's F12.
Is it F12? F11 is full screen. You're right,
but not very often.
I use it constantly. Because one of the things, whenever I'm using AI to extract information from websites and stuff like that, I usually have to show it elements because it'll make its best effort to analyze the site and be like, okay, this is as far as I can get. But then it doesn't get quite deep enough to see the element that I'm really looking for. So what I usually do is I just meet it halfway. I do inspect element. I copy the element that I want to manipulate, but I don't know how to manipulate, like at the level. So I go to the AI and I say, listen, I can show you exactly where the surface is that I want to manipulate, and then you can go from there. And it really helps it out a lot, actually. Let's see here. Ox, I wrote FY in my words to Copilot, and MS blocked my home's IP. What is FY in full
Fuck
words?
you.
Fuck you. Wait. You wrote "fuck you" to Copilot, and Microsoft blocked you. That seems a little weird. Let's see here. Oh no, that's legit. Okay. Yeah, they wouldn't block you for saying "fuck you." I tell Microsoft to fuck off and eat shit every single day of my life. Like I can't remember the last day I did.
It doesn't parse it like that. It's yeah.
I agree. Hey, Jay Miller Design, by the way, thank you so much. Woo! He said he gave us a $10 super chat in that rich Arabica American monies. He said, "Hello, fellers. Watching for a few minutes and tossing a couple bones your way. Need the VOD. Don't worry, you will have the VOD. So what's your take on the AI API pricing? Needed API access for vibe coding project, and wow, it's pricey. Yes, AI is expensive. It's going to get more expensive.
It's going to get more expensive.
It will get more expensive before it gets cheaper. Now, will it get cheaper? Yes. It absolutely will get cheaper. But is that going to happen anytime soon? Probably not. Here's the problem.
No.
Here's the big problem with AI is that it's wildly inefficient. It is like it's probably one of the most inefficient technologies we've ever created. Like literally the only reason it works is because we have such a huge amount of processing power and such a huge amount of memory at like somewhat, realistic cost that it's able to do what it can do. So, oh yeah, and Tech Brew Boss, he's working on a thing with high cap AI. They're trying to find a way to make it cheaper by, instead of buying token units from the suppliers themselves, buying compute units from the cloud computing companies to run the models themselves. So they're trying to figure out how to get a better deal for their customers because yeah, it is really expensive. And here's the thing, the expense is directly tied to how big and how good the model is. Like for instance, can you run a cheap model like and run 1 trillion tokens through it and it costs you next to nothing? Yeah. If you want, but will you have to run 1 trillion prompts to get to where you want to be? Probably. And will you ever get to where you want to be? Most likely not, depending on how complicated it is. So think of it this way. A model, the model's size, how big it is, its physical girth, its footprint. That's usually an indicator of how much, we'll say knowledge, but it's not really knowledge, just data, right? It could be wrong, right, doesn't matter. Just the sheer amount of data that it's trained on that it can retain within its database. Like think of long-term memory, right? Yeah. So that's the size of the model. So the bigger the model is, the more that model most likely knows. Now, does that mean that you could have smaller models that are more localized to a single language, more localized to a single activity that are better than the bigger model in that area? Yes, absolutely. But if you want a model that can do everything, like, basically you're trying to create the human analog, to do that, you need a big model. And to have a big model, that means you need a lot of storage and a lot of memory because you have to hold the whole model in memory. You can't just piecemeal load parts of the model into memory. So if you have a terabyte model, that needs to be loaded fully into memory. And you need it loaded into fast memory because you need to be able to look up any point within that model anywhere at the fastest possible speed because the weights are there's not going to be a predictable place that you're going to go to based on your prompt. The weights are going to lead you to different data everywhere throughout it. So it's almost going to seem like random access. So you need shitloads of memory. You need shitloads of computational power like tensor cores and stuff like that because lookup is simple, but training is hard. So the biggest part of the compute is for the training. The VRAM is what you need for the lookup. So lookup cheap, training super expensive. But when I say cheap, I'm saying relative to training. It's still not cheap to use a large AI because think about what you need. Every time you're asking, let's say you go to ChatGPT 5.4 or you're using Codex or something. You're using one of these massive, huge cloud models that can do anything. It knows every language. It knows every programming language. It knows racks of GPUs tethered together over a high-speed bus to load those models in the first place. Oh, did I lose Aux? Oh, there he is. He's back. Oh, you're back.
You disappeared. That's weird.
Hey, from your guys' perspective on YouTube, do I disappear or do you see Aux disappear when that happens? Because if he disappears, then you're still seeing the data I'm sending to you. But if I disappear, if the whole thing disappears for a second, then it's definitely me. So
I might need to change out my Wi-Fi antenna.
Is GDDR5 faster than DDR5? Yes. Because that's the graphics DDR. The graphics DDR is a little bit faster on average. So, and then there's the X, right? You have the X series of the RAM, which is even faster. I think, what is the fastest RAM right now? Is it GDDR7X?
GDDR7, I think.
Something like that? Yeah. So back to loading the model. You have to load this terabyte model, which means now you need a terabyte of RAM. These industrial graphics cards that cost like $20,000 that have 80 gigabytes of RAM. Think about how many of those you need to load that terabyte, right? So now you load this massive terabyte model onto all this VRAM. Now you need VRAM for context. These are the local conversations. So every single person that talks to that LLM, they basically get a context created. And what that is, that's a window where they have their own session where they start talking to the LLM. And what I mean by talking to it is each time they send a prompt and the LLM responds to that prompt, that's creating tokens, and those tokens have to stay in memory because it has to remember what you said last. So each time you talk to a model throughout the context of a session, the token usage usually grows. It can shrink too. It depends on you do things like compaction. You can compaction's like an important one where you basically take out all the relevant tokens that you possibly can while retaining as much of the knowledge. Mm-hmm. So give it the bare minimum so the model knows what you're talking about, but not necessarily human readable. So you compact it down, but even that compaction operation costs a lot too. It's an expensive operation, but it's like you spend the money now to save it later. But each time you talk to the AI, that memory is growing, that local conversational memory. So you could start out with like 8,000 tokens in your prompt, then to 16, 32,000, 64,000. Next thing you know, some of these models, you have a 500,000 to 1 million tokens in memory at any given time, which means every single time you're sending a prompt, you are now not just sending your prompt, but it also still has all of its memory from that conversation that you had prior. And that's up to 1 million tokens. That means that, so every time you're sending a prompt, even if it's like, hi, how are you doing today? It's going back and it's got this memory of 1 million tokens that it has to carry forward. Even though it's not sending that to you, it's not physically showing that to you. In the background, it has to maintain that, and those resources are still getting used. And that's why it gets so expensive, is because now you have agentic AI. Agentic AI is just what it sounds like. It's agents, right? It's an agent. So now when you send one prompt, you're not just getting one response. That's how LLMs work. You send a prompt, you get a response, right? Agentic AI is a little different. Now you send a prompt, and now the AI talks to itself to figure out the best way to answer the question. And not only that, but now you can tie in other elements called, like, sometimes they call them servers, MCPs, services. These are modules that it has access to use tools and use the web. And this is what allows some LLMs to go out and get additional data beyond the scope of their training. Now it has to use those to go out and gather more data, pull that in. Now it has to keep that in memory too. And it has to carry that all the way forward through your entire conversation until you tell it to forget everything. And so that gets super, super expensive. When you watch it on the back end, it's pretty remarkable how fast you can consume credit. Like especially on coding stuff, because in coding stuff, you're saying, hey, I want you to load this file that has 4,000 lines of text in it, right? Usually not all code's huge, but it's pretty big. Now, each time you're asking it to edit a thing, even if it's just a single line, hey, I want you to go change this line from this to this. It still has to remember that entire file and the conversation. But not only does it have to remember the file, it has to remember every single change that you made to the file, like every single thing you asked it to do as a follow-up, and what it ended up doing. That all gets stored within the context of the conversation until it maxes out. And then once it maxes out, it starts basically getting like dementia. It starts forgetting the oldest stuff that's in memory starts going away, right? And you can configure it different ways. Some of them pull it from the middle. Some of them do a first in, first out thing. But it basically has to free up that memory because it can't hold anymore. That model is physically limited by how many tokens it can hold in memory. Yeah. So the bigger the context window, the more expensive the model is. So if you're playing with a model that's relatively small, let's say it's a model that's only like a couple of gigabytes in the context, and it only has like 8,000 tokens at any given time, which means it basically is like 10-second Tom from 50 First Dates. Like, it can't remember anything. You can run that model all day long. You can just smash on that thing. You're not going to burn any huge amounts of money. You can run it on your local GPU. It's not going to be a problem. It's basically free except for the power that you're burning to run it. But if you want to actually do work, if your goal is to create complex mechanisms and have them function reliably and evolving a piece of software, for instance, that gets expensive. That gets really expensive fast. And one of the reasons I like HiCap is they have a dashboard that you can watch that literally shows you in real time every single prompt that's going to it, the number of tokens it's using. So it shows you which model and which tokens are being used and attached to the project token. So you create like a project API token, and then anywhere where you use that throughout all the software, you can use it in Claude Code, you can use it in Open Code, you can use it in Visual Studio Client, Everywhere you use it, every prompt that goes through the system gets logged, and it shows you how many tokens it cost and how many credits those tokens cost. And I've watched that sumbitch climb to the point where you start getting to a big context where you load the whole program into memory. You're making big moves. You're adding huge features, but you needed to remember everything. Now you're at a 500,000 token context window. Every single time a prompt is sending, it's eating like $1 or two. And it's going like this. It's like prompting itself. Prompt, 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 prompt. $4, $5, $6. You can burn easily if you were on a top tier model like Claude 4.6, $100, $200 a day. You could just yourself sitting there. I'm not talking about a bot running it 24/7. I'm talking about you just sitting there for an 8-hour workday and just banging out. You could easily blow $200. So it gets really expensive. But here's what you get for your $200. You get a model that you don't have to know anything about programming. You can talk to it in very basic terms. And you ultimately, at the end of the day, will most likely get what you want or close to it. Whereas the trade-off is you could go with a cheaper model that has half the context window or a quarter of the context window and older training data. And it might take you 20 prompts to get to the same result that it took one prompt with the bigger model. So now it's not cheaper anymore because it was 4 times cheaper per prompt, but now you have to run 4 times as many. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I'm kind of giving you like the picture of the bigger the model, the more it costs to talk to that model, right? But what you get back from that model, especially if you're very methodical about your prompts and everything, and this is something I'm starting to learn, is I used to be all willy-nilly with AI until I saw that dashboard. Once I saw the dashboard and I could see the true consumption of like me typing versus what's coming out and what it cost, I figured out you could cut like 80% of the cost just by being more careful with your prompting. Like don't just go in there and say you have your huge project loaded. You've got tens of thousands of lines of code loaded into this million context window. And you go in and you're like, I want you to change line 45 to say Jerry instead of Jerry's. And hit enter. I just spent like, okay, boom. I just spent $2 to $4 to have it change a single word on a line. And I already knew where to go do it. So that was a huge waste of work. But if I go through and I create a prompt where I find all of my bugs and I go through and find everything that I don't like about what it did, and I go through and I address each one as precisely as I can with the least amount of tokens that I can, that's going to speed up its inference. It's going to use less tokens overall, and it's going to give me a lot more work per token than I had before by just sitting there and spinning its wheels trying to do one simple little thing. So, and the other thing is you can mix AIs too. Just because you start with one AI doesn't mean you have to stay with it. You can have an AI for thinking and coming up with ideas, and then you can have an AI for actually programming those ideas. And the one that programs the ideas can be a significantly weaker model that's focused on coding. Like there's a lot of these coding models now that they're not great. If you ask it for, facts about fucking political science or climate change, it doesn't know what you're talking about. But for coding, it's good. So you use a more expensive model for the planning, and then you use for the coding where the planning model can explain it. Then you do the coding with the cheaper model, and you can save money doing it that way too. As a matter of fact, that's how Claude Code does it. If you've ever used Claude Code, it uses Haiku, which is like their really, really dumb, super high performance, slow model. They use that for a lot of the planning side of things, and then they use 4.6 or 4.7 Opus for the actual coding, so that it doesn't give you back a bunch of syntax errors, and the code is really solid after each write. But that, because if you ask a Haiku to write code, oh my god, dude, it might take you 20 times just to get the fucking Python script to even compile. So Dev Legion said in Opus, I go through around $50 a day in light programming promptly. Luckily, I'm allocated $100 every 8 hours. Nice. See, it does help when you have a job that's funding you on the AI front. Yeah. That does end up helping. And honestly, you don't want AI to be super cheap right now, and I'll tell you why. Because the cheaper AI gets, the cheaper you become. That's the sad fact that we're facing right now, is the job market is already deeply impacted by AI. Most people in the tech industry are already required to use AI on some level as a part of their daily business, whether it be an internal AI or a business connection to one of these bigger models where it's like they have their own account where they can't look at their shit and it's private and they have NDAs and everything. But everybody's using AI to some extent. If that AI remains expensive, then it doesn't become as viable of a replacement for you. But when it starts getting so cheap to the point where you can get a cheap AI to just be you to talk to the expensive AI to get it to do the expensive thing, now you're more easily cut out of the picture, in my opinion.
I think it's only going to get more expensive. Honestly, none of
It
these
will.
companies are profitable right now, and there's all this circular investment and commitment. Right? It's all
Yep.
oh yes, we promised we're gonna invest 100,000 GPUs, or we promise we're committed to $45 billion of investment, but it's not actually going anywhere. It's still the same problem that we've talked about months ago.
Yep.
These data centers don't exist. They're all promised GPUs that don't exist. Like they're planning 2 years ahead for this stuff when there's still not a real viable product. You're already seeing stories coming out of big companies regretting firing all these people, and
I've seen that.
It's still happening. Meta's getting rid of like 8% of their workforce. And Microsoft just got rid of another 15,000 people or something, all in the hopes that AI is going to fucking fix all this stuff, but it's not. Not every, I don't want to broad strokes this, but like more and more stories are coming out of how oh man, we should not have eliminated at least like senior tech stuff. Like I can see where low level, like entry level programming and that kind of a thing, project management.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Aux again? Or did I lose me? Oh, I lost me.
If you're paying $500,000, first off, who's getting $500,000 a year as a programmer? But if your developer is $500,000 a year, $250,000 of that should be in tokens. Like that's insane.
Yeah.
That's outrageous. Like it doesn't make any sense. How is that sustainable in any way? Like it doesn't make any sense. Oh, people are saying I died?
You went away for a second, but it was me. I right as it was happening, when I saw you go away, I looked down and it was my network connection icon on Windows 11 was blinking.
Oh, weird.
Indicating it's offline.
I know after this, I'm gonna swap my Wi-Fi antennas. I got these.
Did it come back? Where is my dashboard? Okay,
Jensen doesn't want me talking about this stuff, man.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to find. There it is. I found my dashboard.
Jensen doesn't want me talking about this. He needs y'all to buy his fucking GPUs.
Hey, sorry about the internet going down, guys. I think the problem is actually with one of my cables plugged into my switch over here.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it might be because I wobbled it and it went offline again. I don't think that was a coincidence. So I think I might have to change out a bad Ethernet cable later.
Okay.
But for now, I'm gonna just try to.
It did on my end too, like in the upper right corner of video. It went to like not even a 0. It just said blank Mbps. So yeah, I don't know if that's my connection to you or to the site or what, but I think maybe just a little bit of a coincidence. We both had a weird weird thing.
And I don't think it was the internet going down for me because the icon was blinking as if it lost media, like it lost the physical connection, which is weird. It wouldn't do that.
So I got like the video statistics and details open, and I'm reading through here, looking at just some of the text, and I see in one of these it says Nvidia GeForce RTX 4090, and I'm like, wait a second, 4090. I'm like, oh, I got a fucking 5090. What are we talking about here? And it's remote peer info. It's your machine.
Oh, so you thought it was like degrading your graphics card?
For half a second, I'm like, why is my graphics card showing up as not the right thing?
You're like, that's not good. That's not good at all.
It's not me.
Oh my god. Yes. Sorry about that, guys. I think the problem is on my side though, because when I saw Aux freeze up, I looked down and sure enough, it said it was doing the little blinking thing, like when the Ethernet cable comes physically disconnected.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
I think
right. In how many years we've been doing this? How many times has it been my problem?
About 5.
Like 2 times.
About 5 times.
Like 2 times.
About maybe 20 times.
Not even 20 times. Not even out of like hundreds of episodes. Not even 20 times.
The best part is when he swears it's not him and he's like 100% and he's like, oh shit, it's me.
Which has been the only 2 times. Like, no, I'm sure it's been more than that, but like.
Well, to be fair, I am the host, so I get a little bit more leeway because I do have like everything running on here all day, encoding and all that stuff. So
you also fuss with things.
I do fuss with things. That's something that, and even John was irritated with me when they built my first computer and I kept fucking with things in the BIOS. Yeah, it's like every week they'd see a post from me online and be like, "Oh, I horked my computer again." And I'd be back on Puget's website going through.
I'd have to qualify that. You never once blamed the hardware. Like,
never once.
That's not fair for John to be any level of salty, because that's not
I think he was more messing with me than being salty,
Yeah,
though. He was just publicly like, everybody stop Jerry from touching his computer. Leave it alone.
Don't update the BIOS unless we tell you to.
That's John's sticking point, is I'm one of those people in my OCD, as soon as I see a new BIOS, I don't care if it even just changes the spelling of a word. It's like, I have to flash it. Like, I'm like, I can't have an old BIOS on my computer. It drives me nuts. What? But one of the things that I learned from Puget was sometimes a BIOS update can fuck you. Because if you have like older hardware and stuff like that, some BIOS updates can slow that hardware down. Some BIOS updates can cause weird intermittent issues that don't exist on the older one, and then you don't gain anything from the new updates because they're for hardware you don't even have. So it's like, only update your BIOS if the changes to that BIOS directly affect your hardware package in a positive way or solve a problem that you tangibly have.
Or just don't get the newest one. Go to one or two back. You know?
Yeah, you don't need to be running on the bleeding edge.
You don't want to be 6 years behind either. You know, there's security stuff and whatnot that is microcode updates and things that are important. But yeah, I definitely don't do the very first one or the newest one.
Yeah, definitely not worth it. Hey, I want to thank some of these super chatters that have been coming in the picture here. DeWolf's Den Yo, thank you for another $10, man. That's awesome. So Jay Miller gave us the first $10. DeWolf's Den Yo gave us another $10. He said, watching later after I wake up, but wanted to say love your faces, looking good, everyone. Oh, thank you. I also noticed, I'm sorry I missed it in chat earlier, but somebody said they thought I was looking younger today. You know what? Something major changed yesterday. There was a major change yesterday. I had Hell Week last week. I won't go into deep details, but I tore the whole nerd cave apart. I thought it was going to be an easier project than it was. Needless to say, it's even more torn up now than when I started. But it is making forward progress to where I want it. So last week was just nothing but me just breaking my back, sleeping it off, coming back up the nerd cave, working some more. I mean, crawling around in crawl spaces, climbing under tables. It was a fucking nightmare for me. But I've at least got it to a point now where it's like most of the shit's back online and working like where it's supposed to be. But I got piles of shit everywhere. I still got to deal with it. It's insane how much stuff I have. Did you say something, Ox?
No, just giggling.
Okay. So I've got this massive fucking project. Well, my bed, I don't know if I told you guys or not, but I've had a broken bed for a long time now. It's been about 6 months I've had a broken bed where it's like literally the coils have pulled apart, like the little metal things that hold the coils together. They broke off underneath the fabric and down deep inside of the mattress where I can't get to it without actually like cutting it open with a knife. And so when you lay on the bed, you just fall in between this crack with these springs. And it was on my wife's side of the bed, and I saw how bad it was affecting her sleep. It was like she was literally looked like a walking zombie, and I was like, I couldn't have that. So I flipped the mattress around, and I was like, I'll sleep on the shitty side. So then we had to put a mattress topper on it to kind of spread out the load so that you wouldn't fall into this dead space on the mattress. And that mattress topper was so soft that I couldn't physically move around. Like once you laid on it, you just basically got stuck in it like packaging. And I couldn't move, and it was causing I'd wake up with so much pain because my circulation. What's that?
Stiff.
It was bad.
If you don't move around, man, that sucks.
It was the worst, dude. It was the worst. So here's what I did. I finally had enough of this shit. Last week, I went on Amazon, literally just like, I was sitting in the bed. I was so uncomfortable. I'm like, I fucking hate this bed. I went on a tirade. I was like, we need a new bed. My wife's like, yes, I completely agree. But I've been, because of money problems, I'm like, no, we're not getting a new bed. We're not getting a new bed. I finally had enough. I was like, fuck it. I was like, I need a new bed. So I went on Amazon, and first we went on Costco, and Costco had a California king size bed. Their cheapest one, I think, was like $600. And I was like, nope, that's too much. So I go to Amazon. We found one that was 50% off. That was like super, super highly reviewed. That was a firm bed that has minimal memory foam, tons of springs, really good warranty. And it was half off. It was like for California King specifically. So it was actually cheaper to get the California King than it was like to get a double. It was weird. So I ended up spending, I think it was $400 with the taxes and everything out the door for this really nice, highly reviewed mattress. It shows up and it's like in a box that you wouldn't believe how small this box is. Like it was heavy. Like it was easily a 200-pound box, but but it was tiny. It was like it literally was like half the width of a king size bed. And I'm like, how did they get that in there? So I pull out the instruction manual, I read it, and you got to go through steps to like slowly unpack it, roll it out, then you punch a hole so it can start sucking the air back into the vacuum bag. Anyways, a 14+ inch mattress pops out of this thing and appears before my eyes in about 15 minutes. And it took, and I set it up myself like a dumbass. My wife left. She was gone with Xander doing music lessons in the park. And so I decided to just tackle this myself with my busted ass back. And it was the dumbest thing I could have done. I was hurting so bad at the end. But once I got this bed installed, I laid down on it. It was like an epiphany. Like I laid down on the bed and I was like, I have never been this comfortable. I don't remember ever being this comfortable, even without the mattress topper when the other mattress was new. I was like, I didn't realize this whole time. I bought this really super firm mattress. What was the company? Big Fig. And it was a really like durable mattress for a long time. I mean, I'm a heavy dude and I spend a lot of time in bed because of my back and shit like that. So I put a lot of wear on a bed. I put a whooping on a bed. But it was a good mattress, but it was too firm. From day one, it was too firm. My wife wasn't comfortable, so then we put the topper on it, but then it became too soft. This new bed is like Goldilocks zone. I put this mattress on there. It's the cheapest mattress I could find, and oh my gosh, I slept better last night. I slept for 5 hours, which is unheard of before Tech Talk, by the way. I slept 5 hours. Now I've taken a nap, and I slept through the night on it. Both times I did not wake up once. I fell asleep, and I woke up to the alarm. That hasn't happened in years. I usually wake up consistently 1 or more times an hour, have to shift myself around, get up sometimes and stretch if I get too stiff. And then when I wake up in the morning, I can't even get off the side of the bed. It takes me like 5 minutes to get to the bathroom. So if I'm having an emergency, it's like I always feel like I'm about ready to piss the bed because I got to like unstiffen my muscles, get up, try to get moving. I woke up this morning and I felt fresh as a daisy. I rolled right out of bed, went in, used the bathroom, and I was like, something's weird. I was like, oh shit, I got out of bed like instantly. That never happens. I slept through the whole night. So I was like, I foresee a sponsor in the future. This company is the most no-name company ever. I don't think they can afford a sponsorship. Like I just bought their mattress because I felt bad for them because it was so cheap. I mean, it probably cost them more to make this thing, honestly. But I'm going to use it for a while longer before I recommend it to anybody else, though, because I want to make sure that it's durable. All the other reviews said it's durable, but I'll believe it when I see it, right? But my wife, she laid on it the other day. She came home. She usually doesn't nap very much like during the day. She stays up and then she sleeps and then she maybe take one nap during the day. She came in, laid on the mattress and fell asleep for 6 hours. Like literally, wow. I came upstairs and I'm on the simulator. I got, I'm like, hey, Xander, where's your mom? Oh, she's sleeping. I go in there. She's out like a light. And she woke up after that. She said, that is the most comfortable bed ever. She's like, oh my gosh. So what I'm saying, guys, is don't skimp on your bed. Don't skimp on your bed. If you are uncomfortable or you're having problems, the things you should spend your money on. And my buddy Adam, he's right about most things. And he always told me the thing you want to spend the most money on in your life is your mattress, your shoes, your chair, and your car. Yeah. Those are the things you want to spend for comfort. Because you spend so much time in your bed, you spend so much time walking on your feet, and you spend so much time sitting in a chair doing your job, and you spend so much time driving in traffic and stuff to places. So those are the things where you want to put your money. And I tend to completely agree now. Like I am 100% sold on the mattress thing because this little change that was supposed to be to fix this horrible problem with the other mattress, just so I'm not like sliding in thinking I could get rid of the topper, ended up being like life-changing. I have never slept as well as I slept on that mattress last night. And I hope I continue to sleep that well. Like it's, oh my God. Not having sleep fucks you up bad. I think you guys can see that too. Like you guys have seen how bad I've degraded over time, and a big chunk of that is sleep. Is I just don't sleep. I'll go, I could sleep for 12 hours and I feel like I haven't slept 2 hours because I wake up every hour, have to move around, try to get back to sleep again. I'm just always in pain, and then I have horrible nightmares. You know what? I also didn't have any nightmares last night. Nice. I have nightmares every fucking night. Doesn't matter if I sleep for 2 hours, I have nightmares. I had no nightmares last night. None. I went to sleep and I slept on my back, which I usually can't sleep on my back. That's a big no-no for me because I immediately start having pressure points build in my lower back that hurt really bad. I fell asleep on my back and I woke up on my back. That's unheard of. So I'm like completely sold on this mattress. I fucking love it. It's not as firm as I was hoping it would be. Like they advertise it as a firm mattress. I would say it's a medium firm, not a firm. Yeah. But my God. I wished I had thrown that other mattress in the garbage like 5 years ago. I had no idea that it was responsible for so much. And my back pain is like super minimal today too. I don't have a lidocaine patch. This is the first time I haven't put a lidocaine patch on my lower back for a live stream since I got him. What? And so, and I'm not going to say I'm without pain. I am. So my back still hurts, but nowhere near like it does. Like, so I'm like, so I was like, I actually do feel kind of fresh. When I saw people in chat going, oh, you're looking kind of younger. You're looking a little bit better today. I was like, you know what? I actually do feel rested. I actually do feel a lot better than I usually do. I usually feel a lot worse than this. So, keeping my fingers crossed. I hope that this continues to be a thing moving forward. And the other thing is I also have really bad insomnia where I can't get to sleep. Like when I start dozing off, the pain wakes me back up, and I start going, oh, I don't, because I have this memory of when I go to sleep, I wake up and I hurt. So if you always wake up and you hurt, you're not going to want to go to sleep because you know that you're going to hurt, right? It's weird. So you end up staying awake as long as you possibly can until your body just forces you to shut down, and then you're sleeping on a broken surface that fucking hurts, and you can't move around because you're so exhausted. You're unconscious basically. This thing, I went to bed last night. I climbed into bed. I nodded off at like 1 a.m. I can't remember last time I did. I woke up at like 5 a.m. to my wife like shutting down the TV. Xander was getting in bed. He finished brushing his teeth because they're night owls just like me usually. Yeah. I went to bed and slept for like 5 hours. And then normally what I'd do is I'd wake up after something like that because I'd be hurting, and I'd stay up for a couple hours, watch TV until I was exhausted again. Nope. Second he went to bed, flipped off the light, rolled back over, put on my CPAP, and went right back to sleep again for another like 4 hours. It was awesome. It was awesome. So last night I slept like a baby. So I'm like, yes. Yes. So I'm hoping this mattress is like life changing because I need it. And then on top of that, I also figured out a feature on my chair. I've been suffering with this damn chair forever because it tilts slightly forward. And I thought that I bent the frame on the bottom of it. Like I physically thought that I like bent like the seat pan. But no matter how much I tried to bend it back, I couldn't get it to go in the other direction. So I was like, well, I must not have bent it, because if I bent it one way, I should be able to bend it back the other way, and I couldn't. So, no, I find out this whole time there's like a fucking little hidden knob thing under here that you have to like pull and jam and move, and it allows the whole seat to move back a little bit and lock in place. So now instead of leaning forward like it normally is, it leans back one click. So now when I sit in the chair, all the pressure's off my back when my legs are square to the floor, and I'm not feeling like I'm leaning forward the whole time like this. Yeah. So I basically solved the problem I've had with this chair since I got it years and years and years ago. And I knew that it could swing. Like there's a thing you pull out that lets it swing back, but then it scares you because you lean back and then it feels like you're going to fall over backwards. I didn't realize you could lock it in place though. Like that was the part that eluded me, is that you can pull it out, move it to a position, and you push it in a certain way and you wiggle the chair a little bit and it pops into place. That was the part I couldn't figure out. So, oh yeah, that's true. Lewis Electra said the pillows are just as important if you're a side sleeper. 100% agree. 100% agree with that. One of my favorite pillow that I have right now is buckwheat. Or was it buckwheat husks? It's like another one of those things Adam turned me on to. He's like, dude, try this buckwheat husk pillow. It stays cool. It keeps your head precisely. Like once you put weight on it, it doesn't lose its shape. Like when there's no weight on it, you can move it around perfectly. But it's like once you put weight on it, it like locks in. And I freaking love it. I go to lay down, I get my head at right the height I want, I just pack it together so it's under my head, and then I just rub my head into it a little bit to create like a cradle for my head, and then I wake up in the morning, it's the exact same shape. It also handles sweat really well, and it dries out really quickly too, which is like the other two things I really love about it. But yeah, buckwheat husks of all things. It feels really weird though if you ever get one. It is the weirdest feeling pillow. You're like, why would anybody want to sleep on this? It feels like kind of lumpy and stuff, but no, it's like once you use it, you're like, holy shit, I get it. It's so awesome. Hey, Dev Legion, I want to thank you for that $5 super chat earlier. He said, I'm wondering if AI companies could process compaction on its side before the prompt is even sent to the model to help lower as many tokens as possible. Technically, yeah. I mean, well, they could. I mean, they could if they wanted to.
That's more processing for them. So how would that save money?
The thing is, it costs.
If they're having to process the compaction on their side, that's just more compute.
So here's the thing. It doesn't save. You're right. Aux is right. You don't save anything on compute. If the compaction happens server side, well, it happens server side no matter what, right? Even when you do a compaction, you're basically just prompting it to compact its information into a smaller prompt. But where this could be helpful, though, is if it silently did it on the server side, then while you're sitting there computing your next prompt, they could just be auto compacting in the back end. But here's the thing. Normally, compaction is decided by the client. And the client makes that decision based on how many tokens are on memory and how important the thing it's doing is. If you leave that to the server side, you're actually giving up some ability for you to make those decisions better. Because when I compact, I could actually tell the model to compact in a very specific way that preserves what I'm doing better for that specific model. If it always does it the same thing for everything, regardless of the context that's being talked about, I could see that being a problem. So I actually think you get having more control on the, initiating it on the client side and telling it how to do the compaction is honestly a better way to do it. But it would be cool if they did more of that type of work and that maintenance work on the server so that your prompts would be faster. Yeah. Because tokens a second is the biggest limitation, right? I mean, when you're talking to a model, they're not going to allocate you 500,000 graphics cards to give you an instantaneous response. That would be far too expensive. So instead, they give you enough graphics cards that you get like, 14, maybe, or like 20, 25 tokens a second, where it looks like it's somebody typing really fast. When you see that text coming back, that's literally in real time how fast the model is looking up those words. So, and the more power that you allocate to it, and the faster the memory is, the faster that lookup can be. And so you can get that lookup instantaneous for a lot of models, if not all models, but the cost is it becomes astronomical. So what they do is they find a happy medium where it's fast enough that you get what you need, but it's as inexpensive as it can be while still being useful. But you could save money if they slowed it down. If they just gave you like, one GPU to do the inference and that was it, you might only get like 3 tokens a second with these really, really big models, but it'd be a lot cheaper because they don't have to allocate you so much hardware that you're locking down by yourself for a period of time. It would allow them to have more customers use that same compute, but everybody would be slower, right? And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you spend the tokens in 10 seconds or an hour. At the end of the day, it still takes the work getting done. So it's like, if you could get it done in 10 seconds instead of an hour, time is money. So you're actually saving money, even if it's a little bit more expensive, if that makes sense. To front load it to get the time shaved off, especially if you're working like an 8-hour job. If you're working and like half your day is spent just waiting for inference, that's you're being paid to just sit there and watch text come in, right? Yeah. So the faster that you can get your response, even if it costs the company a little bit more money, that's more time that you can be engaged with the AI and more stuff that you're physically doing as a human.
I just think, man, the more and more as this stuff goes further, the real thing to do is start running your own models. Stop paying these people. There are plenty of really good open source, like basically free models. Like somebody was in here. When are they going to tap into our compute? I would love to give my compute to save some money. Run it yourself. That's how you save it. Your compute, your local compute is not significant enough to reduce the cost of what you're paying for API access or your monthly fee for ChatGPT or whatever. If anything, especially for most, I would say, general users, and this goes for me too. I'm just lazy, and I imagine that's a big reason why a lot of people don't do this. I should not be paying $20 a month for whatever Perplexity or ChatGPT or whatever. I have access to plenty of. I guarantee for the vast majority of the folk out there, I have access to better hardware, or at least more hardware and I could get a similar experience, an equal or better experience with all my own stuff. Honestly, I could. And the only one that comes to mind, of course, is Olama. But there are so many. You go to fucking Hugging Face. There are so many models that you can get that are specific to the task that you are trying to accomplish, whether it's code or just like copywriting or image generation or whatever the fuck. You might wait a little longer because you have wimpy hardware, but what is that time worth to you?
Well, remember the context window size too, though. Without a big context window, you lose a ton of capability, even with a good model.
That's flexible too, though. Like you can have it spit out like a markdown file that's compressed. You can have it in you can have it do it in there's the something base 64, right?
Yeah, you could technically have it like use base 64 to compress the models, but remember that it doesn't understand. The model probably isn't trained well enough to understand base 64 directly, so you'd need some kind of intermediary to break it down and feed it in a chunk at a time.
Translator, I just think that we are very quickly approaching a time where it's just going to be better for you to do it yourself, and that whether you're an individual or a business, paying these big companies to basically steal your data and train their models on it is not the best.
Any cloud model you use is going to train on your data. That's one thing you definitely do give up.
I bet there are models that are specifically fine-tuned for code too.
So
why not?
Here's my findings. I do, and just full disclosure, I do a lot of shit with local models. Like I actually code a lot of stuff that actually the code that I write interacts with local models to complete its goal.
Sure.
And I can tell you right now,
bet
local
someone's
models
out of-
cannot compete for coding. Not even
I
even
bet-
the best one can.
I wonder. I bet there's some like coming out of China that would be just fine, like DeepSeek or whatever, Moonshot, those ones.
Here's the thing where you have to optimize for what you're trying to do. So with a cloud model, it's just an expert on everything. So you're getting a lot of shit you don't need with the stuff that you do. But if you're just, let's say all you do is code Python, and let's say all you do is speak English. So you're an English speaking person, all you do is program in Python. You can actually get a model that's trained just on English and just on Python that can do a relatively decent job at simpler Python stuff, right? Because in order for it to do the more complex stuff, it needs to know more than just the code, right? But you can get a small model that can actually crank out some fairly decent Python script that as long as it's not super complex. And yes, you can totally do that. But if you want a model where you can say, I want to architect a program from scratch, I want you to use all these different languages, all these different assets. I want you to know images, 3D modeling files, all that stuff. You need a model that not only is large enough that it has training in all those areas and the combination and crossover between those areas, but it also has the context window for you to hold that all in memory at any point in time so that it can make changes without regressing or breaking other stuff.
Sure.
So, whoa, did we just get 1,000 sexes from Pele?
That's so
Holy
many.
Shit, bro.
That's almost too much.
Bro. Oh my gosh. Pele, thank you so much for that 1,000 sexes, man. He said, Jerry and Ox, my heroes. A little extra this week. Probably won't have a chance to see you next week. Have a great time. Oh, thank you, Pele. We really do appreciate that
man.
a lot,
Seriously,
brother.
thank you.
Seriously,
Thank you.
I don't know why the bar isn't working at the top of the screen here. I'm going to see if I can refresh.
Oh, really? Yeah,
that's
we reset it. Oh man, none of those super chats popped up. I did the reset worked. That's weird.
It did. The reset totally worked. It's like it's like the connection between Stream Elements and YouTube is like super messed up. Let me refresh. Yeah, so it's not even updating on Stream Elements website. So let me go to, let's go over to old Stream Elements. I'm gonna have the bot leave and come back and see if that fixes it, because that sometimes does.
Yeah, like so. There's and so this is beyond my experience, of course, and I'd have to either leave it as an exercise to the class or get your word on it. But like, I just went to Hugging Face and I just looked up. I just put in code, right? Yep. And it put up Quen 3 Coder next.
I use Quen. I use Quen Coder. It's decent. It's a decent model for like simpler stuff. Yeah.
And it says with only 3 billion activated parameters, 80 billion total parameters, it achieves performance comparable to models with 10 to 20 more active parameters, making it highly cost effective for agent deployment. So this is a little more for like agentic, but it says versatile integration with real world IDE. It has a 256K context length. Like, that sounds pretty dang good, man.
But here's the thing. This is the thing that people get hung up on. And I'm telling you, you can even test it yourself if you have LM Studio installed right now. Just because it supports a 250,000 context length doesn't mean your hardware will allow it.
Sure. Oh, yes, of course. You got to have the VRAM to hold it.
Exactly. And that VRAM grows. It's not linear. It's like exponential. So it's not like, oh, I want to hold 8,000 tokens. It needs to switch memory, and I need twice that memory for 16,000 tokens. It actually grows exponentially because it's weird. There's like it's not a one-to-one relationship. It's like the more you grow the context, it needs more power than it would if you just doubled it. So if you drag that slider up to the full 256,000 tokens, it might need 80 gigabytes of VRAM, even though it's a tiny little model.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're getting like some reload stuff over here on the YouTube dashboard, but I still hear you fine. So so I don't think network drop.
So there's a big note. If you encounter out of memory issues, consider reducing the context length to a shorter value.
And then here's the problem when you reduce the context window length is now it becomes forgetful. And you're like, I want you to create this thing that does this, this, and this. And then by the time it gets to the second this, it already forgot the first this and basically removes it and overwrites it.
But you can also tell it, hey, like, here's the file to refer to. So like you don't necessarily, it doesn't have to store the context.
It does though. Even when you give it a file, it still has to store the file. All it's doing is taking the file and putting it into context.
I feel like it can look at it though. It can temporarily, to answer the question, it could just look at it.
Only if it has enough context to hold the whole file though. It has to be able to, if there's not enough leftover context to hold the full file, as it's loading it, it'll start deleting the beginning of it. So like the least amount of tokens that I've ever been able to get something usable out of is about 50,000. Anything less than 50,000 tokens, and it's basically 10-second Tom. Like you're like, hey, I want you to do this thing, and it's like, okay, I did the thing, and then you're like, no, you didn't do the thing, and it's like, oh, you're right, let me do the thing, and then it's like, but you just didn't do the thing again. It's like, oh no, but I see there, I didn't do the thing. Let me do the thing, and it's because it keeps forgetting. Like, and you can kind of mess with it a little bit. Like if you have a smaller context window, you can say cut out the middle. Don't cut out the beginning and the end. Like those are the most important parts. Just cut out some of the middle stuff. Like if you're just doing changes to a project, that model works better. But you have to tinker a lot. And trust me, I am the biggest advocate for local models. I use local models for image recognition, defeating captchas. I even, for stuff that I'm working on for the channel, I'm working on a bot that actually clones my voice that on Twitch can be like my co-host, but it's evil. It's evil, Bizarro Barnacules.
That's fun.
And so I can clone my voice, and I have to use, and I want to use a local model for that. So, and I've actually found local models that are like tremendously fast, can run within the context of my 4090. But if you try to go to any more complexity than just general chat with it, which coding, again, the second you start loading big code files, that context window just skyrockets. There's a reason why people are paying the money to use these cloud models for coding, and it's because local models just aren't up to the task. They really aren't. But I can tell you this. The simple aspects, like if you're building component by component, and you're staying small and you're staying modular, then yes, I do think it's completely possible to do a lot of coding stuff with local models. I'm just saying that from a cost benefit analysis, like if you need to get something cranked out fast and it's of a larger complexity, a cloud model is just going to be like, boom, just get it done, in and out, you're good to go. Whereas with local models, you're going to constantly be tuning, messing with them, reloading over and over and over again, redoing context, constant compaction. To try to get somewhere, it's going to take a lot more effort on the human's behalf to fill in that hole. And that's why I think people are willing to spend the money that they are to do some of the coding stuff in the cloud. It's just because of the capabilities. Like, for instance, let me give you an excellent example. So I tried to use a local model to code a wind simulator for my racing simulator. So right now I have a program called SimHub that I downloaded that takes telemetry that the PlayStation sends on the network, and it tells you like you have an app on your phone that shows like a digital dashboard, right? And so when you're racing in the game, it's sending all this live telemetry over the network, and you can capture it. Well, SimHub captures this and can translate it into things to run motors, transducers, to shake the cockpit and simulate brake lockup and all that stuff. So I wanted a wind simulator, but the wind simulator requires you to set up PC fans. You got to connect them to an Arduino. You got to build the circuit. You got to flash it with a certain software. There's a whole process to get the wind feature working with SimHub. So I was like, wait a second. I've got a huge fan. I've got one of those Vornado fans, 110 volt plug-in Vornado fans that blows a shitload more wind and reacts way faster than a PC fan could. So I'm like, how do I get that thing to blow at me, right? So I started doing a little research online. I'm coming up dead ends. Everybody's like, no, we just use PC speakers and this Arduino thing. So I just went into, I think it was Claude Opus 4. No, this is Codex. This is GPT 5.4 Codex. And I say, I have this SimHub program. I want you to write a plugin for it that can take my DMX lighting controller that I normally used for my leaf blower. Remember back in the day on my stream where I had the leaf blower and it would turn up and down when people did events. It could it'd blow smoke and then the leaf blower would come on and hit me. Well, I have this DMX lighting controller that has 4 plugs on it, and they're each a DMX channel. And you send them a value between 0 and 256 over the network, and it changes the voltage from 0 to 110 within that window, right? So you can scale the fan or a light, or if it doesn't matter, anything up to 1500 watts, it can change the voltage between 0 volts to 110 volts. So I explained this to Opus. I'm like, I have this thing. I don't know the model number. I can't tell you anything about it. All I can say is it's DMX. It's on this channel. And I have this ArtNet thing plugged into my network. And I just explained kind of like the setup. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, I can do that for you. The very first time it wrote it, like all it did was go through it. It took maybe 15 minutes. I come back after 15 minutes. It had already installed the plugin. It had already restarted the application multiple times to make sure it was receiving telemetry. And it's like, okay, I think I got it. So what do? I go into the program and I hit accelerate on the car in GT5 and the fans goes, and like in real time, it's adjusting with the speed of the car. I was like, no fucking way. I was like, this thing on its first attempt. Now I did have to do some polish. Like it had an error in the UI because it sucks with UI development. So I had to have it fix a bug with the thing in the UI. And then it had another bug where when the game shuts down, the fan just stays at the last speed instead of going to 0. So I had it fix those 2 bugs. and then I just packaged it, and it wrote a full README. It checked it into GitHub. It has full installation instructions. It has things that work, things that don't work. It lists other potential hardware that you can find on Amazon that will be compatible with it. I haven't released it to the public yet, but there is literally no other plugin that I found that can do what this did. And I just had it like belted out by just explaining it. So again, it's one of those things where it's like it created something that didn't already exist. And that's what I think is really cool about AI is it can do that. Everybody's like, oh, AI can't create anything original. No, it absolutely can, because most original things are amalgamations of existing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, what I've learned, especially when it comes to programming, and this was 20 years ago, plus years ago, when I was like at the end of high school, even then, it was so incredibly, like outrageously rare that you would ever encounter a problem that hasn't already been bumped into. So like,
yep.
Yeah, maybe, especially in the context of like programming or coding, maybe it's not coming up with anything unique, but it's still like all of the pieces for whatever unique idea you're going to come up with already exist. It's just putting them together in a different way.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
And so like, yeah.
No, I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's like, and if it's not the exact idea that's been done before, there's been enough individual things that have been done that just putting the glue in between them is enough to create the new thing, right? Mm-hmm. So in this case, I was like, I have a DMX lighting controller, which nobody even thinks to use with like fans and stuff like that. It's literally marketed as controlling incandescent dimmable lights for photography. That's what it's mostly for, like in a studio or whatever. But I'm like, it's 1,500 watts and it's a plug-in. So if it can run a bulb with a wire that basically just turns red hot, it can run a fucking fan, right? Sure enough, I plugged in the leaf blower and it worked. Now, so this wind thing, I also evolved it so that you can plug in 3 things now. You can have left, center, and right wind. I haven't put it on the simulator yet. I only have the front one. But I'm going to take 2 leaf blowers and mount them on 3D mounts on the sides, left and right. So when I'm in the car and I'm sliding in a corner, the wind's going to shift to the left and shift to the right while I'm in VR. So I can always feel the wind coming at me from the direction of the car's travel. Now, to add that feature was like super simple for the AI to do, right? It was trivial. It's like, sure. I'll just add 2 more DMX channels and the same code should work exactly. And I'll just map it through this plugin to the SimHub architecture. The other thing I thought was really cool is that it didn't even know anything about SimHub. So it had to look it up on the internet. Then it found the SDK and it read the SDK. Now, granted, this used a large amount of context window. I mean, it was like, I think it was at 500,000 a prompt at one point. But it read in the entire SDK to learn how to write the plugin, and then it wrote the plugin to wire up perfectly. And I mean, it's like real time. There is no lag in this damn thing. You step on the gas in the car, and it's like the wind scales perfectly with the speed. You slam on the brakes, the fan can actually slow down faster than the car can. So it's like you're in VR, and it gives you this sensation of speed that I've never had on any other simulator. I don't care. Even full motion simulators don't give me the feeling of speed this thing does with the wind mod. But without AI, I never would have done it. Because without AI, I would have had to go figure out the SDK. I would have had to learn how to program in the language that the SDK supported, which in this case wasn't a big deal. It's .NET, so I was already familiar. But it was able to go do all this stuff. If I had to do it myself, it would have taken too much time, too much tuning. I would have had to take a bunch of time off on different days to do it. This was like 15 minutes of asking an AI. And I'm sitting in the cockpit driving around with like wind. Like I was like, dude, this is fucking baller, right? This is cool. And it wrote the installation instructions. It wrote like full documentation. It checked it into GitHub. It created a beta and a master branch so that I could toy around with that without breaking out the previous code. Now, instead of eating up all the context window, trying to remember every change it's ever made, now it can just go to GitHub and pull the change list. So it can see, so I can fuck it up as much as I want. Because here's one thing with AI that a lot of people learn the hard way and spend a lot of money is you'll load a project. You'll be in a conversation, you'll be talking about it, and then you lose the window. Something crashes, goes away, you lose your context window. You lose your conversation. You don't remember the conversation ID. You can't get back to it. Or you just say something, it creates a bug, and now you can't get it to undo that bug. It's a pain in the ass. But here's the nice thing about with like bigger AIs that know how to work with stuff like GitHub is it can check in every change that it makes to GitHub. Like individually, it can do this. And so if you make any mistake, you can fuck up the whole program. You can throw away the whole context of the conversation. All you have to do is start a new conversation and say, look at this GitHub URL and give it the GitHub URL. And now it pulls the whole code, syncs the latest version, can see the change list. It can go backwards. It can go forwards. It can bring features that it took out back from like changes way back and add them in and put them into beta branches. And it can do all the integration up to the top branch. It just does it all. You don't have to fuck with any of it. And I was like, dude, that is so much workload that you can take off of a dev. That's normally just busy work that you just have to learn a bunch of shit that doesn't really benefit you that much in any way, shape, or form. You know, it's just you're learning all these like complicated commands and the command line to, you know, do whatever you're, but you don't have to do that with AI. AI just does the shit. Hell, I even showed Aux before we started the stream. I had to figure out where, I had to figure out this microphone auto gain thing, right? So
Yeah.
I used a program that I fucking wrote, an AI program I wrote that works. Now, this is where local AIs kick ass, by the way. Local AIs are good at localized, specialized things. So finding a model on Hugging Face that's trained on, say, Windows 11 and in the English language, that's perfect if you want to have a command line tool and you want to just create command line syntax. Go get yourself a little model like that, pair it with an MCP server that can look at the web, and now you've got this lightweight, little, super fast model that can figure out just about any command line for anything, because if it doesn't know it, it can just look it up on the internet and then piece it together, because it knows what Windows syntax is for like CMD, exe, and PowerShell and all that. So I created a thing called, and I'm gonna put this on GitHub. It actually already is, but it's just not public. But it's called AI CMD. Instead of opening CMD exe, you open AI CMD. And AI CMD is just what it sounds like. It's an AI-enabled command prompt. So I can type regular commands, or I can type anything I want, and it'll figure out what I'm trying to do and then create those commands and run them for me. So now I don't have to remember these fucking complicated command lines, because there's so many complicated command lines I had to memorize back in the day. And it was a fucking nightmare. It's like, I can't even imagine how much of my bandwidth I used in my brain to remember like so much of the shit that's just useless today because the tools went out of existence or something else replaced it. Now with AI CMD, I don't have to remember any of the shit. I can just come in here and tell it to do it. You know, I'm like, okay, I want to, change my system volume to 50%. You know, I can just type that into AI CMD. And wait, why is that not working?
Now it's broken.
Is change a command? Oh, change is an actual command. Sorry, that's why. You have to put it in AI mode if it's an existing command. Here, okay, so I'll do it again. AI, I'm gonna say change my system volume 50%. So now it's like, oh, I'm thinking. And it can use a local model. Like I said, you don't have to use big cloud models for stuff like this, but the cloud model would probably give you a better answer most of the time. But again, this can retry through trial and error and figure stuff out. So it says, okay, I'll change your system volume to 50% using PowerShell. So it creates this giant command, add type definition using system runtime interop services, and then it writes a piece of C# code that imports a function from user32 DLL called send message, and then it formulates a message with variable volume level equals 50, and then it sends it to the Windows stack. Then it calls send message W, which then sends the message, the volume multiplied by 10,000 hex divided by 100, which probably just creates milliseconds out of seconds. And then it says system volume is now set to system volume. So it says, do you want to run this command? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Okay, command has been run. Your system volume should now be 50%. Sure enough, I open it up and it's at 50%. So it's like, that's so fucking cool. I don't have to like remember the command. Now that was, of course I can just click on the thing and move the slider if I want. But if I want to do more complicated things, like I can say, hey, show, let's say you don't even know how fast can my computer talk to windows.com, right? I'll just say, how fast can my computer talk to windows.com? And it's like, okay, I'm thinking about it. And it's like, okay, it comes back. It says, okay, it says, I'll measure how quickly your computer can communicate with windows.com. So the command it picked is ping-n5 windows.com. It says this will send 5 ping requests to windows.com and display the time in milliseconds. So I'm letting it go. There it goes. It's pinging. So now when it's done, it comes back and says, okay, well, your average ping time was 71 milliseconds. But I can also have it like, if I can say, hey, how fast can my computer talk to windows.com and give me only the average, and I want it in a colorful table, and now maybe it'll use PowerShell instead, where it's like, oh, before I just asked it and it's like, oh, I can run ping. That's the simplest way. But now I'm being specific on how I want that data displayed to me. So what's it going to do? So it's like, oh, okay, now it's going to ping windows.com 5 times. Now it's going to look for a string average. Then it's going to create an output string with the columns, and it looks like it's actually creating ASCII graphics and all this shit, and it's changing the foreground color of the console. Let me run it and see what it does. So it just created this massive command. Okay, it's running. So I don't see anything because I think it's piping it out to a file or something. Yep, there it goes. It worked. So now it gives me an ASCII output that has destination and latency windows.com 71%. It actually created like a colorful ASCII window with the columns and stuff. So I'm like, dude, it's fucking cool. The AI wrote an AI tool. This is where it's kind of like back when I've got into 3D printing, and it's like 3D printers create stuff to upgrade 3D printers. It's like I feel like AI can create things to upgrade AI, because it's like I created an AI tool using a cloud AI that then uses a local AI to create commands if I want. It can use any number of AIs. You can flip between them by toggling. But now, and the reason I created the tool is because I found myself constantly, and tell me if you guys do this too. How many times have you just opened up like ChatGPT or whatever AI you're using, local or cloud? How many times have you just opened a conversation just to ask it to create a command line for you? Like what's the command to do this, or what's the FFmpeg command to like convert this file to this or do this to this? I do this all the time. This is ever since AI became a thing. This is one of the things I most heavily use it for. Is I always just have a Copilot window open or something that I can go into, and I can be like, oh, what's that command again to do this, or what's the command to do that? It's like, oh, you're talking about blah blah blah, and I copy and paste it into the command shell and I hit enter. I'm like, what if I can just cut out the middleman? I'm always doing the same thing. I ask it for a command and I cut out. So what if I just create a tool that uses a tool-enabled AI so that it's structured output? And that tool is designed to literally just create the command lines, one or more command lines that achieve the goal of what you put in, but still support all the other stuff too. So like if I type ping, it doesn't even go to the AI. If it's an executable that's in the system path, or it's a batch file, or anything that can be run directly, even like a CPL file, it'll just do that because it knows that you're not talking to AI if you start with that. But if you type anything else that isn't an existing executable, then it just goes, oh, you must want AI because this obviously wouldn't run. So now let me send this to AI and see what AI thinks. And then it gives you back the command, and you can, and if it's non-destructive, it doesn't ask you for permission. If it's destructive, it asks for permission. So commands, what is this, Linux? I know, right? On Windows, it's like people use the command prompt in Windows. Yeah, actually they do. A lot of people do. And I used it heavily. When I was at Microsoft, I'd say I did 95% of everything I did was from the command prompt. It was to the point when I was at Microsoft where I'd remember entire registry paths to make changes. Like instead of just clicking on the control panel and going to the control panel area and doing the thing, I prided myself on opening up CMD or PowerShell and typing in the entire tool, reg, ex, edit, hkey, local machine, software, current machine, local user, run, add this key, dword value equals this, hit enter, to do the same thing, when it'd actually be faster for me to just mouse through the UI at that point because the command is so long, right? But I prided myself on doing it. I remembered all that shit, and it's like, but it's hard. It's hard to memorize all that shit unless you're using it every single day of your life. It fades. Like you don't keep it forever. At what point does AI stop being a tool and start being a teammate? I mean, that's the thing right now. I'd say it is a teammate. I use it like a teammate every day. I'm sad to say I'm hopelessly addicted to AI. Like I am hopelessly addicted to AI. Like I feel like I lean on AI way more than I even should, just because I know that I can do it faster with AI than without. Because keep in mind, I am a career software developer. I worked at Microsoft for 15 years of my life as a senior SDET. Like my job was literally writing code in C, C++, C#. I didn't do any Python until after I left Microsoft, but now I do a lot of Python stuff. But yeah, and I even I found and debugged issues in Windows too, which required me understanding assembly. I hated writing assembly, but I understood it enough to debug. So, you know, where you'd go through and look at individual machine instructions and registers on the CPU and what values are being stored in those registers at given times, and walking backwards and forwards through the stack of those things using something called IDNA to find bugs in Windows at a super, super low level when you didn't have these things called symbols that would translate between assembly and C. So yeah, all that super low level shit, it's like that served me well when I worked at Microsoft. But if I worked at Microsoft today, it would be a radically different scenario.
Oh, no doubt.
Like it would not be anything like that. Now working at Windows, it's like if I sat down to debug something, I wouldn't be walking through each individual assembly instruction one by one, trying to draw out the state machine on a piece of paper, which is how I used to do it. I'd literally have a piece of paper on my desk. I would go through, here's the state of the processor, walk it a step at a time, remembering each state or whatever, so that I could get a big picture on the whiteboard or on my piece of paper and go, okay, this is what's probably happening. Now I don't have to do that. Now if I was at Microsoft, I would just be like, okay, kernel debugger, I want you to dump the last 10,000 assembly instructions into context of this AI. And then I want the AI to translate that back into human readable C. So I don't even need the symbol. You just reverse engineer it back into human readable C without a symbol. And now I can just look at the actual C code, which is much more simplified. 10,000 lines of assembly might only be 10 or 20 lines of C. So it's a lot easier to understand. Hey, Bubba and Matt, thank you so much for the $2, man. He said, all I can this week, dude. You're still awesome, though. Hey, bro, we appreciate every penny, dude. Don't spread yourself thin, though. Bipolar Bear, thank you for the $25. He said, good to see you guys. Oh, it's good to see you too, man.
man.
Oh, Pod Lassie. I'm sorry. I missed Pod Lassie's first tip too. I meant to fix that. Greetings from Poland. Thank you so much for the 10 PLNs. We appreciate every PLN. Netware 19991 gave us $15. Thank you so much. We appreciate that generosity. He said, greetings. What hardware would both of you pick to run GPT 120B OSS? Maybe something like an RTX 6000 Pro, 3X Intel Arc Pro 70B, Mac M3 Ultra, or AI Max 395 Plus with 128 gigabytes. You know, I have been I've been super impressed with these small, these small AI inference engines that just have a single NPU and shitloads of GDDR memory. And I'm guessing that's what the AI Max 395 Plus is. I don't recognize that one specifically, but let me look that up. I'm guessing this is going to be one of those small little inference engines, right? AMD Ryzen AI Max 395. So this looks like a CPU that has NPU capabilities. Okay, so it can do up to 50 TOPS of NPU. And okay, so this is just the CPU. So you're talking about like this system with the whole system, not just the CPU. Yeah. So the AI Max 395 Plus with 128 gigabyte, the only problem you're going to run into there is because this is a CPU, you're going to be running something like DDR5, which is incredibly slow. DDR5 is way too slow for AI inference. Like, you might get a couple tokens a second. Some of the models, you might not even get that. So even though you can have a huge chunk of memory, that's going to be your biggest limiting factor, is that 128 gigabytes, because it's going to be in the form of DDR. Now, the Mac M3 Ultra, that's a little bit different, because the Mac M3 Ultra has unified memory architecture, which means the entire memory of the system is VRAM. So those M3s scream when it comes to AI. As a matter of fact, they're little, workhorses when it comes to AI. Like, if you're looking for not just a laptop, like, they'll be desktop computers. It's like, if you're looking for something that can do a lot of AI inference for the money, these M3 MacBooks are actually damned impressive. But also remember, the upper bound of memory that you can get on them, I think, is fairly limited. I think, what is it, like 64 gig or something like that, because it's unified memory architecture and you can't upgrade it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a limitation. The RTX 6000 Pro, I don't know how much memory that has on it, but I'm going to guess that's probably a limiting factor. Let's see. Is that the one that has 32 gigs? Because you can do a lot. 32 gigs is a decent amount of VRAM. Like, you can load a lot of really good models on that. Let me see. What are the specs? That's going to be... Holy shit. You can get 96 gigabytes of GDDR7? What the fuck? Okay, I was completely wrong. I don't know. Let me look up the price of this thing. So it's a RTX Pro 6000 Blackwell. Yeah, this is going to be one of those cards that I bet you is like 20 grand. Let's see. Bing. Let's see. 80 GB price. Okay, how much are these bad boys? So, oh, wow, not too bad, actually. So you're looking at $8,500 to $9,200. But... you're literally getting 80 gigabytes on a single card, so you don't have to go through the bus, right? It's all on card. So the inference, so this would kick the shit out of the other three options, like, by far. But you're also paying a lot of money. This is more than 3 times the cost of the Mac M3. And the GPT 120B OSS model, how big is that one? The 120 billion parameter? I'm thinking that's probably going to be a pretty big boy. Is that within the 80 gigabytes? Let me see. You are, because each model has different quantized versions. So, like, when you see, like, quant, the Q, that is how compressed the model is.
Right.
And so the more quantized the model is, the more compression, smaller size, faster the model is, but the less accurate it's going to be. Because what it's basically doing to get that compression is it's lowering the precision of the weights. So, like, instead of, let's say you have 100, 0 to 100 for the weight that's going to pick between word 1 and word 2. You have steps of 1/100th. As you start to quantize the model, as I understand it, that starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller to where you start getting down the point where you might only have 1 out of 4 chances of hitting that number instead of 1 out of 100. So the precision is, like, way less. So it basically becomes more belligerent and less accurate as you go on. However, mileage varies. There's some, I don't know why, I haven't found a good explanation for it. But some models, you can get down to like Q1, which doesn't even make sense. Because, like, how the fuck when you have one option do weights work? I don't understand it. But you can get down to a Q1 model and compress these 500 gigabyte models down to like 50 gigabytes that fit on a single GPU. And somehow they still give somewhat good answers. Like they're still prone to looping. They're still prone to getting stuck in certain areas, but you can mitigate all that with software. You can break it out of a loop and everything by changing the prompt and fucking with the seed. But it's wild that it can give any kind of coherent response. And they found that some models it works reliably. Other models, you quantize them down by like half the size and they just fall apart and they're useless. Completely useless. So I'm thinking it probably has a lot to do with like how they're trained. I'm trying to figure out, okay, so it says you can load GPT OSS 120B efficiently on a single 80 gigabyte GPU, but it doesn't say how big the model is here. Oh, no, I found it. Never mind. So, oh, shit. Active params per token, 5.1 billion. What's the total size? Yeah. Context length, 128K. That's decent. Mixture of experts, 36 layers. Where's the size, though? Like, I want to see the size of the damn model. You know, that's kind of an important metric. Why wouldn't they put that on here? Anyways, I'm sure you probably know if you've already looked at the size of these things, but here's the problem you're going to run into is the 80 gigabyte model has so much more memory than the other two options. Or the other three options you presented, except for the one that has 128 gig, which I'm guessing that's not going to be VRAM. But again, I'm not... Yeah, it can't be because it's just the CPU, which means you're still going to have to run DDR5. Just avoid DDR5 for inference. Like, it's even... With LM Studio, I've loaded models where I'm using my RTX 4090 and its tensor cores to do the inference, but I'm storing the model in GDDR5 system memory. And the only thing I'm storing in the memory on the graphics card at that point is like the cache. And it's unusable. It's unusably slow. Like, you might as well just give it a prompt and go to bed and wake up in the morning. But here's another interesting thing that I don't think a lot of people look at is you don't need an instantaneous response these days because with agentic AIs, you can just set them free and let them go after shit and eat while you're sleeping, right? So let's say you have a model that only gives you 2 tokens a second. Big fucking deal. Give it a big workload. Set up an agentic, like OpenClaw or even honestly, you can achieve the same thing using OpenCode, Claude Code. If you look at OpenClaw, the only thing that makes it different than like OpenCode and Claude Code and Klein and all these other plugins that seem like they're directed towards just coding, but they're really not. They all do everything. Is that OpenClaw is tied in with a lot more external tools and services by default. So like OpenClaw can create crons and scheduled tasks and everything without you having to tell it to do it. Like it knows to do it based on your language. That's what makes it special. But you can do the same thing with Claude Code or OpenCode. You can just open the damn thing up and say, listen, I want you to go write me a program that does this, this, and this. Load the whole model into your local thing on CPU into system RAM. And just say, go do it. Crank up the context size, even if it's 1 token a second or a half a token a second, and then just go to bed. Let it run all night, right? Even if the responses are huge, it's like the 4,000 lines. It'll get that out over 6 hours. Let it go back and forth. Stick it on a computer over in the corner and just let that shit run for a week and come back and see what it came up with. And then maybe load smaller models to do the tuning on it, right? To fix little bugs and do localized fixes and repairs. But you can get away with using, you can load really big models into system memory, have it be slow, and still get get some use out of it. It's just now, instead of sitting there and having the instant gratification of it, just doing it right in front of you in real time and being able to steer it, you just set up the whole workload in advance and then just come back next week, and it's like suddenly you've got all this work done. And it seems like a big, tangible amount of work. Like, what's the biggest model I have right now under LM Studio? So it looks like 18 gig is the largest model. I have Gemma 431B Instruct loaded. That can load on my GPU. But even if I load it into system memory, like an 18 gigabyte model, let me see. System memory, I'm going to do no GPU offload. I'm going to do 100% CPU thread size. And I'm going to crank the context. Oops. I'm going to crank the context window up through the fucking roof, because I couldn't do that with my GPU. As soon as I up the context window, I'm outside of my GPU's memory. Here's the other thing. People don't calculate in the context window size when they're thinking about the model they can run, because if you load an 18 gig model on a 4090, that only leaves you like 4 gigabytes for context. That's in addition to the model loaded into memory. So just because you can load the model doesn't mean it's useful at that size. So let me go, okay, GPU offload, thread pool size. Okay, the default context in LM Studio is 4,000, which is almost completely useless. Okay, so if I crank it up to 262,000, so this is 250,000 context window, which is fairly average for a cloud model. It requires 87 gigabytes of memory. So the model only consumes 18, but it needs 87 gigabytes of memory. That's fucking insane. So let me crank it down to 100,000. So 100,000. How much does 100,000 need? It needs 45 gigabytes. So I'm going to load it. 45 gigabytes, no GPU. I'm just loading it into CPU and system memory. And I'm curious to see how many tokens a second I get with Gemma 431B. Still loading, because it's having to load the entire model off the hard drive and the memory, and then it's got to create that giant context window. So Lewis Electric said I'm nowhere near that. Rip the stream if he hits enter. I know, right? Luckily, I'm only using half the memory, so hopefully that's not a problem. But let's see. So I loaded this vision model. Let's see how fast it is. Hi, how are you today? So this is running on CPU and at GPU memory, so it's processing the prompt. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's how fast the tokens are going by. So it says, hi, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. How are you doing today? Is there anything on your mind that I could help you with? So 3.17 tokens a second, 33 tokens total, and it took 2.35 seconds to process the prompt. So that's actually, I mean, sitting here, that'd be like pulling teeth to get it to do coding work. But I could come in here and say, here, write me a Python script for a graphical Tetris game, right? So let's say a graphical Tetris game. Come on, damn it. Tetris game. And I'm just going to let it run while we're streaming. So write me a Python script for a graphical Tetris game that runs under Python 3.12 and Windows 11. And make sure you fix all the bugs before giving me the code to copy and paste into a file and run. And also give me a requirements.txt file to load dependencies. Do not give me code that won't compile or has any syntax errors or missing functions. So I'm giving it some rules, right? So I'm just going to say go.
Yeah. Right.
So it's got 100,000 context window. Okay, and there it goes. So it processes the prompt. So now it's even slower because, again, the context is growing. So remember, the context isn't just the prompt that you're sending in the response. It's everything that you did before in that entire context of that conversation. So each time I send another prompt, the context is going to grow more and more and more until I max out that token size. Once my 100,000 tokens are gone, the only way I can talk to it anymore is for it to remove context from the beginning. So it's going to lose memory once I push it past that point unless I compact it. So here it goes. It's doing it. It says, okay, I'm creating a graphical Tetris game. It already got to the point where it's writing the requirements text and it's loading Pygame. That's right. That's what it used, the graphics engine and gaming engine. Now it's creating Tetris.py. So I'm just going to stick it in the background. It looks like the stream is unaffected by this. If I go into Task Manager, it looks like we're using... LM Studio is using 50% of my CPU, and its memory footprint right now is, that can't be right, 12 gig? How? Okay, something's wrong here. That cannot be right.
Oh.
I mean, it says 70% of my memory is in use, and I have 96 gigs of memory. Yeah, I think I found a Task Manager bug or something, because this doesn't make sense. How could I be using 12 gigabytes of RAM, but it's still 70% of my overall memory? That doesn't make it. That doesn't compute. I think I found a bug. But hey, it wouldn't be the first, man. It wouldn't be the first.
You broke it.
So if I open up LM Studio again, let me see here. Where is it? Okay, so in LM Studio, okay, so it's writing the code very slowly, might I add. And then keep in mind, too, it's not just sending back the text. Tokens also are changing colors and format, too. So when it's writing code and it has to change, like, you know, import to purple and this to white, and it's got to do all the formatting to put it in a code window. Each one of those is also a token in the conversation. So it can get pretty expensive. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure this isn't using the GPU. Because if this is using the GPU, then that's not a fair test.
Right.
So I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, it says it's not using the GPU, so this should be CPU only, and it is hitting it for 50% of the CPU, so that does make sense. But it still says it's still touching the GPU engine, but I don't know why. Like two of the LM Studio instances. Oh, you know what? It's probably just loading the driver for it, but it's not using it on the other instances, so that's fine. But yeah, it's doing it right now. It's writing the arrays for colors and shapes and all kinds of shit. So we'll just leave that in the background running. But it's just, so, you know, I'm going to take back what I said earlier as far as, like, local models not being particularly useful except for, like, in a very specific thing for that model. I think that as long as you have a lot of system memory and you don't mind waiting, as long as you're willing to trade time for context, then I think you can actually get a lot of mileage out of these local models if you just let them run all the time.
Like, let's say you have like a couple computers in your house, you have a laptop. You're not using all your computers 100% of the time, 24/7. So why not dedicate their cycles to just constantly improving and doing things in the background? You know, you want to program a game or something. You don't want to spend the tokens to have a cloud do it in 5 minutes. Just have your laptop over in the corner, you know, with 64 gigs of RAM, load a big model into system memory, and just crank on that sumbitch for like a week. You know, you should. You're not gonna. I'm not gonna say that you're gonna get to the same quality of a response at the end, because again, you know, cloud models know so much more information, and even information outside the scope of what you're doing can still be useful to what you're doing. So I do still believe that the cloud models, those huge models, are always going to give you a better response in the end. But again, if you're willing to trade the time, I think you can really get the mileage out of these bigger models if you just load them into system memory and don't care about the token, how many tokens a second it can do. Should use AI to fix all the mistakes in Windows 11. I guarantee you right now, I would bet money that Microsoft right now is running Mythos over their entire code base frantically.
Oh, I bet.
And one of the key indicators of this is they released a patch. Last Tuesday, they released a patch that had 140 fixes in it. Microsoft, Patch Tuesday, at most has like 12, maybe 20 fixes. 140 fixes? What the fuck, right? So there's no way that was done by the test team at Microsoft. That was literally bugs found by AI, fixed by AI, run through the quality gates. It got signed off, and they shipped that shit. And the reason Microsoft is doing this so frantically is because Anthropic created this Mythos model that found, what was it, 100+ bugs in Firefox that hadn't been previously found?
Yeah, I saw that when we were looking for topics this morning.
That's insane. Think about that. Like, Firefox is open source. Like, it's got the world's eyes on it, right? And Mythos went in and found 140 bugs that weren't previously found or reported. So it didn't say what like the severity of the bugs are. I'm sure some of them were really, really high severity and a lot of them weren't. But the fact that it found them, that's fucking insane. So if this model gets into the wrong people's hands and they find those exploits before Microsoft finds them and fixes them, those hackers now have dominion over those machines, can do bad things, right? So that's why Anthropic didn't ship the model. If you guys know the story, Mythos is a model that Anthropic tested internally. It ended up finding way too many bugs in the code that they pointed at. Like, it outperformed all their expectations by like miles. But to the point where they realized that if they released this to the general public, that hackers would be able to use this to pretty much gain access to everything on the planet. Because the levels of bugs this thing were finding were like very complicated to carry out. But not only did it find them, it could create the exploit code too. Which means, as a script kiddie, if you had access to Mythos, not only could you find the bug, you could exploit the bug too and write the software to give you that control. And so what they did instead is they gave access to a handful of companies, banking companies. I think Palantir got access to it. Microsoft got access to it. Apple got access to it. And they basically said, hey, you guys that write 90% of the world's code that everybody runs, run this shit through, fix your bugs before this ever gets out to the public so that it doesn't cause like massive turmoil and destabilize the world. But the problem is it actually did end up getting in the hands of some bad people. And we are seeing a massive increase in cyber attacks. And that's not a coincidence, right? It's like, and not necessarily just from Mythos. There's a lot of models that can find exploits and exploit them. Like, you could just go grab any GitHub project right now. Just go grab your favorite GitHub project and say, hey, Grok, because Grok doesn't give a shit. Grok, you hardly have to jailbreak it. It'll tell you almost how to do anything. It doesn't care. So you go into Grok and you say, hey, look at this code over here and find a way for me to exploit it with minimal access to the user or not having to write anything. And, I'd like to exploit it remotely. Let it go through and see what it finds. And then if it doesn't find anything, say, hey, try to find something I can exploit by telling the user to do something. It'll go through that code base. It'll find shit. And then if you ask it to write the code to exploit it, as long as you tell it that you own the project, it just believes you, by the way. Just tell it you own the project and you're doing testing and you need to find and fix vulnerabilities and you need to create something that exploits it. So it'll do it. It'll do it. It's fucking wild. It's just, dude, it's wild. Highly recommend people go and play around with the shit just to see how bad it actually is. Because it is, it's a lot further along than people think. Let's see. What is this? What's that today? 25th?
Yeah, today's the 25th.
Oh, okay, I see. Let's see. Here, where is it? Hide. Found one of Daniel's old accounts. Oh. Oh, Tech Brewbot said Grok 420 is now on high cap API. I just deployed it.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. Oh, wait, you just now deployed it? Oh, I thought it's been up there for a while. I guess I hadn't used it. Lewis Elector said, ask Dave Plummer to fix Task Manager. He coded Task Manager. Yeah, I won't be asking Dave Plummer anything. I banned that guy a long time ago. Yeah, go look into that guy's past. He's not the hero people seem to think he is.
Yeesh.
Let's see. Sorry, I was trying to catch up. Was that Platinum Dose said I use Claude desktop app. I found AMD Radeon RX 7900, but I don't know what local models I can run that aren't laggy. That is as good as Opus. Dude, you're not gonna find any local models as good as Opus. Period. That's like not possible. So the thing with local models is you have to take compromise. You have to go to Hugging Face, look for what you're trying to do, like specifically what you're trying to do. Like I'm trying to make a game. And I only in this one programming language, and it only has to be trained on English. Because here's the thing with models, if you want, because remember, you're training a neural network from scratch. You can't assume that it knows anything. It doesn't think like how do I put this? So when you think about something in your head, you're speaking your native language. Your first language that you learned as a child is usually the language that you think in. So in your head, you're like, when you're thinking, you're actually thinking and hearing those words in your inner monologue when you're thinking. Apparently, there's some people that have a weird syndrome where they can't do that. Like they can't hear their inner monologue. But anyways, most people can. So that inner monologue, the reason that we think in that language is because that's the first language that we learned, and so we associate those words with the actions most easily without any effort and minimal brain power, right? Those links are really strong.
Okay.
You have to do the same thing with neural networks. You're training them from scratch. So if you train a neural network to know how to speak in English, you have to teach it English before you teach it how to code. Because if you teach it how to code first, it's not going to know how to convey that information to anybody. It's just going to be ones and zeros. You're not going to understand it, right? So you teach it English, and then once it has a good grasp on the English language and good examples of that grasp of that English language, then you teach it the coding on top of it. And it's a layered approach. Sure. But if you want it to understand multiple languages, English, Chinese, Korean, all that stuff, the amount of training data you need goes up exponentially. That's why a lot of these cloud models support tons of different languages, but a lot of the Hugging Face models might only support one or two languages. Mm-hmm. And that's because you grow the model so much by having it learn another language, because the weight system has to change entirely. Because you're not just teaching it, here's a word in 3 languages. Now you have to teach it, here's the function name in 3 languages. Here's the parameter names in 3 languages. Here's the tools in the 3 languages. So you're having to teach it everything over again for each language to make those connections between that language and that thing. Because if you just made the connection between the English language and, say, Chinese, so you're like, okay, the person asked for something in Chinese, then you'd be returning the code in English, which might not be of any use to the person who's on a Chinese terminal that everything's in Chinese. So the more languages it supports, the more exponentially the model grows. So look for models that are specifically your primary spoken language and do some very specific thing, and you can get the size down. Now, there are some models that are kind of like defying the odds that have come out lately that I haven't done enough research on to be proficient in like how they're pulling this off. But Google somehow managed to create a fully agentic model that fits in 2 gigabytes that's actually really useful. I have no fucking idea still how they were able to do this. It can run on a phone, and I mean it can run fast on a phone. It's called, let me see if I can pull it up here. Gemma. So Gemma. And there's multiple different Gemmas. You can download it. If you want to put it on your phone, just look in the store on Android or iPhone for Google AI Edge Gallery. That's the app you have to install to try it. And it loads the model. These aren't cloud models. These are models that are loading on your mobile device and running locally on your mobile device. You can also download them and run them in LM Studio also. And so like Gemma 4 E2BIT, it's a variant on Gemma 4, ready to deploy on iOS using Light RMLM. It supports text input with up to a 32K context window, and the whole thing's only 2.54 gigabytes. That's the total size of the whole model. So I'm going to load it. So there it goes. It's initializing. Now it's loading on my phone. And this is just crazy to even think of an LLM running on a mobile phone. That's just, you're like,
Right.
oh, that can't be
Right.
useful. So I'll just say, hi, how are you? Let's see how fast it responds. Okay. 1.9 seconds for the response. It doesn't give me the tokens per second, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Roughly 27 tokens in 1.9 seconds. So that's over 10 tokens a second I'm getting on a phone. So I'm going to say here, write me a Python script that can run under Pythonista, because I'm going to try to get it to have to go out to the web, because there's no way this is trained into this model. Write me a Python script that can run under Pythonista on my iPhone that will play a random set of tones until I stop it. So just relatively straightforward. Let's see if it can do it. Hey, that's a fun idea. However, there's significant technical limitations we need to address before writing the script. Pythonista environment. Pythonista runs Python code on an iOS device. It has access to the device's system, but has very limited direct access. The audio output, playing arbitrary random tones, requires a way to generate the output raw files like waves and MIDI data to the device's speakers, and complexity creating a truly random set of tones involves generating frequencies, amplitude. Yeah, no shit. This is common sense. Okay. So it's giving me a giant disclaimer. It's giving me the best approach for Pythonista, but at the end of the day, it wrote it. It gave me the code. Dude, I cannot believe how fast it responded too. Holy shit. It's still, you can see it writing here. Look, this is how fast it's giving me the code, running on a local phone. This is not cloud. Look how much it's sent already from that one prompt. That's fucking insane.
Heck yeah, man.
This is
awesome.
Dude, it's wild. This is just like, I don't know how they're doing this. This is one of those ones that's a head scratcher for me, because it kind of goes against like how all the other local models I've played with work. I'm like, how the hell is it doing this? Here, let me create a new file in Pythonista. New file, new script, empty script. Call it tones.py. By the way, if you want to know what Pythonista is, it's a Python engine for iOS. It's really cool. Like, because normally you can't run Python on iOS. Okay, so it gave me the full response in 48.1 seconds. It's like, how to make this work in Pythonista. It says I have to install AV Foundation. This is Apple's core framework for handling audio. And then the data format. The data format generated by NumPy needs to be converted into a format AV Foundation supports. It says recommended. Start by looking for exist Python on examples. Okay, whatever. Just give me the code. I just want to see if it works. Whoa, somebody like racing outside of your house?
Oh, yeah. We got the window open.
Okay, now this is the hardest part with iOS, is like, how the hell do you just copy the code block? Like, any other place you could just do it, but no, this one says, oh, you have to copy all the text you don't want. iOS pisses me off sometimes, seriously. Okay, so where's the end of the code? Let me cut this out. I just want to see if it runs, because I don't think this is going to compile and run. I will shit my pants if it does, because this is a 2 gigabyte model. Writing any Python that compiles is laughable. Like, I've never seen this with any other model. Okay, so hit play. Let's see what happens. Okay, it says, we'll play 5 random tones, each lasting 1 second. Playtime. An error occurred. Invalid integer data type F. Hint, the error is likely in the play tone. Okay, so it did find a bug. So, but it did compile. That's actually more than I would have expected. So I'm going to paste the bug back to it. Same conversation. In theory, I think I just locked up the app. Oh, Google. I swear Google on purpose writes code that just does not run well on iOS. Like, it does not play well at all. All right, we'll leave that over and see if it magically comes back to life. But that's already way more than I would have expected happen. That was so much better than I thought. It actually compiled. That massive block of code it sent me.
No way.
Fully compiled from a 2 gigabyte model running on an iPhone. So it's fucking wild, man. Have I seen Nvidia's Nemotron 3? I have, but I can't load it locally. It's too big. It's still too big for even a 4090.
Bang.
Let's see. And I think I downloaded the same model that's running on the phone. Let me see. Do I have it? Yeah, Gemma 4B. Or Gemma 4 31B IT. Let me see. How big is this model? I downloaded the bigger one, because the models on the phone, only the 4 gigabyte model is the largest model you can get on the phone. But on the computer, you can download, I think there's like all the way up to like a 8 gigabyte or a 16 gigabyte model. And, wait, what the hell is this? Oh, is this? Oh, this is the Tetris code. I asked it to write a Tetris game earlier. That's right. I forgot about that. So it's been over here just cranking on this Tetris. Tetris.py. Let me paste this code in here. Python tetris.py. Let's see if it runs. Okay. No fucking way. No fucking. I call bullshit. I'm playing. Bro, I'm playing Tetris right now on my screen. Although the Tetris blocks fall through the bottom of the screen, although they do rotate properly when I push the up arrow.
All right.
They fall through the bottom of the screen. That's not keeping score. It looks like the screen is too low. If I keep dropping blocks on the same spot, they do start to build up. So I think I think the floor is just too far down. But dude, it just first try. Holy shit. Okay, I take back what I said earlier. That's actually a pretty impressive result. So just so you know, I loaded Gemma 4 31B IT with 100,000 context. And this is running on my computer in DDR5, right? This is the thing that earlier I just set off and I forgot it. I came back and I wrote, let me see how many lines of code this is. I'm curious. It looks like it's a sizable little chunk. Let's see, temp. And again, so this is the phone one and this one both compiled. They had bugs, but they both compiled. So it wrote okay, not that long. It's 186 lines of code. 186 lines of code. It actually builds and it is Tetris. Yeah. And so what if I tell it? So I'm going to say the pieces start collecting below the bottom of the screen. So you don't start seeing any of them until you stack multiple. And it also has no sound, which kind of sucks. And the score doesn't do anything when the blocks place. Can you fix these bugs and give me the full new code? Okay, so I'm going to just let that crank again in the background, just like I was before. Okay, it's processing the prompt. That takes a while, though. That with the CPU, that's the painful part, is processing the prompt into the actual thing that it understands takes a while. Okay, there we go. To address these issues, I have made the following corrections. That's how slow it's going. It's actually running faster on the phone with the smaller model. Oh, my God. Let's see. Is it still... Yeah, I hung the Gemma app. The Gemma app's like out of commission right now. But
you broke it.
Bro, this is impressive. This is actually, you know what? I'm gonna go back on what I said earlier. I think local models have come a long way since I really played with them.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
and they're only getting better.
They are. They really are. This is cool shit, man. This is super cool shit. I am super duper excited. Oh wait, I didn't mean to do that. None. Damn it. Come on. Fix that. 2016. Okay, sorry. Got a little distracted there. So, yeah, anyways, I'm shocked. I'm completely blown away by this. Like, I did not know that was going to work that well. I don't understand how a 2.5 gigabyte model is able to write Python code that actually compiles. I mean, it did have like one bug, but that was clear, but still, like, that's fucking insane. Can I open the old conversation? Let me see. Hold on here. Here, how do I go to my old conversations? There's got to be a way to look them up on here. Click that. Configuration. Do I want to use GPU or CPU for the accelerator? Do I want to enable thinking? Wait, this is a thinking model at 2.5 gigabytes? No way. It doesn't look like it lets me load up past conversations, though, which is kind of stupid. Like, you need to be able to do that. So try. Okay, well, here, write me. Yeah, it doesn't. It lets you create a new conversation, but you can't go back to old conversations. That's stupid.
Boo.
Here, write me. Come on, write me Pythonista script. Pythonista script.
Uh-oh.
That plays what? Random tones.
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
Oh, no, I thought something was going wrong with your stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, so I got it right. Now it's a thinking model, so now it's actually doing the thinking part. By the way, I switched it from GPU to CPU, and it still looks like it's running like perfectly fast. Nice. So, because I don't know, I'm pretty sure iPhones have discrete graphics too. So I'm actually really surprised this is running as well as it is. So let that crank away. But again, I mean, this is an example of, I got that big context window that I was telling you I can't get with my 4090. Like if I tried to load, so if I loaded Gemma on my GPU, It would take, God, this is like going so slow watching this, right? But again, look how much code it wrote in the background when we forgot about it in a half hour, right? But watching it, it's like pulling teeth. It looks useless. But if I loaded that into my GPU, the context window would only be 20,000 tokens. So by loading it into DDR5, same exact model, same exact size, I was able to use 50 gigabytes of DDR5, which gave me the much larger context window. And you're going to get so much better results with a large context window. Like right now, I'm already using, looks like right now, 4,000 tokens. And after this response, that'll update. But I'm already using 4,000 tokens, which means if I was running with the default context size in LM Studio, like if you just click a model and you do load without looking at any of the parameters, the default context size is 4,000. So I'm already 3/4 of the way through my context, and I have a 180 line Python script. That's it. So that becomes pretty much useless for anything. So beyond that, tell them about the image. Oh yeah, I should tell them about that. So Tech Brew Boss made some deep fakes of me without my permission. No, I'm just kidding. He was demonstrating a new image generator from OpenAI. Oh, God. Here, give me a second. I'm having trouble fucking talking right now. Here, let me get some water.
Okay. What's up? There's a chat. It's cool. I'm actually hyped for the AI too powerful to release segment. When are we going to get to that? Probably never. It's about the mythos thing. And we kind of talked about it already. We were talking about how Microsoft's using it to scrub through the code base, find 0-day problems. We talked about how Mozilla used it for finding like 147 bugs or something, like basically overnight. And then somebody in chat mentioned it, but we were also going to touch on how some third-party contractor was able to guess the URL for it and has been using it unauthorized. Any AI for finding like outfits, like clothes? Probably. I know that there's like image. What's the term? I was just looking at it on the Huggy Face thing. Dang nabbit. It's for like looking at images, identifying object detection, image classification. I think that might be what you might be looking for. Image classification type models. Let's see what else. I suppose you could try like object detection. That might be a little too narrow. I feel like Mythos is overhyped, but I want to make this great. I mean, all of this is very interesting, progression of technology and stuff. I do think that the whole segment is way overblown. I think it's silly how much like investment is going into it. I think it's just bonkers. And I don't think that there's going to ever be the return that they expect. This whole thing feels very Bitcoin, very NFT sort of vibe to me. It's very crypto. It's very NFT, similar sort of thing to me. It's really, like, again, don't get me wrong, very powerful, very, very cool stuff that people are using it for. But I think that this overestimation of it, the fact that there's this crazy race to replace human beings in places with it is just, it's ridiculous.
Oh, sorry about that. Had to run downstairs because my son was using the upstairs bathroom.
Oh, no worries. It doesn't really make stupid people any smarter. Dumb people are using it for dumb stuff. I agree, 100%. And I think that's part of the mindset, right? It's kind of a force multiplier in a way, because like you have to have like vibe coding, right? Like the people who don't understand actual programming concepts are vibe code. Oh, I want to make an app that does this without the full like context understanding of what it means to do that. Like you see these freaking stories all the time. Like some doofus thinks he's going to write the next like SaaS product and make $1 billion, but then as soon as he like publicizes it, the thing falls apart because he never thought to take security into consideration.
Exactly.
Like, if you don't already have some understanding, some basic understanding of what it is you're trying to accomplish, you're not going to get anywhere. It's going to be just janky. You know, the jokes that you fly around. Oh, I made this cool app. Go check it out. It's at 127.0.0.1. You know, like check out my website. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, it's a force multiplier. If you're already stupid or you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna think that it's something awesome, but it's not gonna work right and it's gonna break. Like Jerry's freaking Tetris thing just now. Like if that had been somebody else who didn't understand what's going on, they would have seen that and like, oh, this is dumb. This thing didn't do what I asked it to do. But it's like you see the blocks falling through the floor or whatever. It's going to, like, you understand what's happening. Like, oh, it didn't do this thing right. It didn't do this collision detection correctly, or it didn't whatever. And so now you can go back and say, hey, this isn't working. And
it definitely helps for sure. Yeah. But there is one cycle that I would argue is still useful to some people. And that is, you don't have to know programming, you just keep pasting the error back in without explaining anything. True. So a lot of the problems I run into, I can literally just copy the output of it blowing up and just paste it back in, as long as you know that. You still have to know that. Yeah. But it's easy to teach somebody. It's like, oh, if it doesn't work and it throws an error you don't understand, just copy it and just paste it back into the window, and then just keep repeating the process until it gets you what you want. But now we have AIs that create their own VMs and compile and run the code in the VM for you. Like, for instance, Grok does this. If you say, hey, Grok, go write me a Python script that does, whatever, like this Tetris game, it'll spin up a VM as long as it doesn't try to access any internet access. Like, it doesn't give you internet access, obviously. That'd be bad. But it'll spin up a little VM, and it'll keep writing the code itself until it compiles. Then it'll run the code and make sure the outputs are what they're supposed to and that it's seeing what it's supposed to before it then hands back control and says, okay, here's your finished product. And so you can kind of let it spin and figure that. Now, it's at the cost of course, tokens and time, right? It has to keep making the mistakes over and over and over again. But it can self-correct. And each model that's getting better and better, it's going to get to the point. Like, I am positive that it will get to the point where you just go in and say, make me a game that does this, this, and this, and this, and it just works first time. Mm-hmm. Are we there? No, not even close. Not in any realm of the imagination. But compared to a year ago, like where we were at, massive improvement.
Oh yeah.
So, and I think it's going to continue on that course. I mean, look at me. I'm sitting here on my freaking phone, and like you said, I do believe that the best explanation so far is force multiplier for sure. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Is that the more you'll get more mileage out of AI. Wait, is David in chat?
Yeah.
Holy shit! Look at this guy
with his dog.
I wanted to say hello on the dog walk, but I was joined by my lovely wife, so I thought I'd better talk to her. Lots of love labs. Hey, David, thanks for stopping by, man. We appreciate it. We really do appreciate it. Oh, by the way, I finished writing Tones V2, where all I did was just copy the error, right? I didn't look into it. I just said, hey, nope, this is what it did. Now I put in the new code. Let's see what it does. Oh, wait. Oh, because I didn't, sorry. I copied and pasted not just the code. I copied and pasted all the text. This iOS, you dumbass. I hate iOS sometimes, man. Seriously, it just makes me mad. All right, there we go. Import numpy. Does it work? Let's see. No module named sound file. Do I have to install something called sound file? Standard libraries. Is there one called sound file? Sound file. It's saying I'm missing a dependency. So again, here's another thing. If you didn't know what a dependency was, you'd have to then ask it, what is that? How do I install it? Which would take more time and more tokens. But the one thing that AI does give you, even as a novice, is you can keep asking it more questions. Yeah. Like, as long as you got the tokens, like, even if you have no idea what you're doing, you're like, write me a program. You're like, okay, what do I do with this text you just gave me? It's like, oh, you got to put in a file and compile it. And you're like, well, what is compiling? I don't know. Oh, well, you got to install this program, and then you hit this button and this button, it'll compile. And then you do it. And you're like, okay, I did that, but it says this program isn't compatible with Windows. And it's like, oh, you probably clicked the wrong link. Go download this one instead, or you got to get this one that's compatible with your computer. You know, you can go through that system And what I would say it's analogous to is sitting next to somebody who knows what they're doing, and you're asking them what you want, and they're helping you realize it, right? They're sitting there correcting it. You can ask them questions, like tech support sitting next to you. If you treat AI like that, you can actually get a lot of value out of it, not being a developer and ultimately developing stuff or not knowing the commands to do something. One of the things with that AI CMD thing that I created, the thing I've used it the most for by far so far is converting video. So a bunch of the video files that I have on my server, they take up shitloads of space because they're raw videos. So I'm like, why am I storing raw video for like shit I recorded at events just because I could? I had the camera in RAW so that I could edit it after the fact. I'm like, no, I just want it. I want to compress it down using what is it, H.265. I want to use the latest codec. I want minimal quality loss. I can literally just go into AI CMD and just say, here's my folder with all the videos. Yeah. I want you to I want you to take all these and convert it, and it'll actually create all the script, write it in real time, run it, and just convert all those files for me. And it just does it. And I love that. I love that about it. It's like, that's something that I would have to go look up the commands. I'd have to read the help for FFmpeg. Then I'd have to go figure out how to write a batch file or a script to loop through all the files in the folder and then run that command against it. Then make sure that what it outputted was what I wanted. It's like, I like that I don't have to, I don't have to do that, right? I can just go into AI CMD, fire it up, and just say, hey, go to that folder and do the thing. Nice. And it's like stuff that would normally be, it would take even me some amount of learning to figure out how to do it. Like, okay, I want to write a script, say, go find every single image on my folder and create a folder with symbolic links to it, right? Because a symbolic link is like, instead of copying the file, it creates like a shortcut to the file, but that shortcut acts as if that's the real file. That's a symbolic link. NTFS supports symbolic links. So I can say, hey, go find every single image on my hard drive, and create a folder called /symlinks and create symbolic links to every single image file in that folder, so I can see all my images on my hard drive in one folder, but without creating actual copies. So I'll just do that, right? It's like, I don't want to have to think about going and creating the batch file and doing the /L%I do blah, blah, blah. Just fucking do it. You figure out I'm not even going to tell you how to do it. You just figure out the best way to do it. I'm going to just stand back and it's sitting here. It's like, okay. So it's going to, first command is if not exists, cSymlinks, then mkdir symlinks. Okay, so it creates the folder. Then it looks for extensions, JPEG, PNG, GIF, BIMP, BMP, TIFF, WebP, SVG, ICO, HEIC, like all. I didn't even tell it what file types. It pretty much put in every normal image type. Then it calls PS driver, PS provider file system, select object from root for each drive and drives recursively, go through the path, searching drive for these files, recursively grab them, and then it calls, let's see here then, I'm trying to find, that creates a new item in PowerShell, symbolic link, and then it links the path to the target. And okay, it says, yeah, search drive for all image files, create symbolic links. I'm going to say, go ahead, proceed. So here it goes. It's scrolling pages and pages of created symbolic link, created symbolic link, created symbolic link. So it's like going by so fast. Yeah, I can't even see it, right? So I'm going to open up the symlinks folder that I just created. So it's there. So now if I open it up, let's see. Okay, so far it says this folder's empty, which is a little weird. It shouldn't be empty. There should be a gajillion files in there, so something has gone wrong. But again, this is where it's the force multiplier, right? You have to go and do some of the work yourself. The weird thing is it looks like it's running the commands and it looks like it's successful. So I hope I'm not just creating like a million symbolic links somewhere where they're not supposed to be. And that is something that you can do. Because do you remember when I fucked up my whole computer?
Yes, I was just thinking about that when you were talking about symbolic links and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, I got lazy and I created a script and I was like, I want to clean up all the dead weight on my hard drive, all the caches, temporary files, places where shit just accumulates, right? And what it ended up doing was deleting a lot of shit my computer actually needed to function. And so when I rebooted it, the computer didn't work anymore. It's weird. It looks like, okay, so this, again, it says it's creating the symbolic links, but I'm not seeing the symbolic link files manifesting themselves. So I'm going to stop this because that's not great. It does say it created it, though. That's the weird thing. Why is it saying it created it, but it's not there? So that's another one of those things where it's like debugging would be helpful, right? Like I need a way to debug it. And so I'm looking for it. Says, okay, for some reason, it's outputting like this giant-ass block of HTML with process IDs. What is this? ToString, created symbolic link. Oh, that's for like the output text. Okay, it says, okay, so I killed the command. It said, okay, it didn't look like that worked. Let's try a different approach. finding all the files, putting them into an image path, then going through each one of them and iterating, creating the symbolic links. Okay, go ahead. Knock yourself out. There it goes. Now it's searching for all the images to create the symbolic links. I'll tell you if it's successful here in a minute. Because if the first one, remember I told you the tool, if it doesn't work, it just tries a different method until it does. So that's what it's doing right now. Now it's searching for all the images on the hard drive, putting them into one text file so that it can iterate it, and then using a different command to do shit. But again, it's making assumptions. That's the other thing with AI is AI wildly makes assumptions. I said my hard drive, so it assumed that I meant C, even though I have a D and an E and an F too, right? So if I said my hard drive, how does it know I mean C? Right? It's making some assumptions. Let's see here. Sorry guys, I'm definitely a little off my game today for sure. This whole it's definitely been a rough week. I figured that since I got some sleep, I'd be doing a lot better, but I'm having a problem where my mouth and my throat are so dry. Having trouble talking. Probably was not a smart idea of me to have a quad shot coffee this morning. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody earlier because I think I did miss a couple. Let me pull up the dashboard. Where's the dashboard at? There we go. Bubba to Matt, again, thank you for the support. Oh, Bipolar Bear, thank you for the $25. Holy shit, dude. It's good awesome to see you guys. And then Netware, I think we answered their question about GPT 120 OSS. I am curious, how many people here have not played with like AI at all? Like when I say AI, I mean like specifically like LLMs and generative, like creating images and videos and stuff like that. Is there anybody here that hasn't touched the technology at all yet? And I'm not necessarily saying on principle or whatever, like you're aware of it, but you refuse to use it or whatever. But how many people here just haven't played with it? That don't really understand like what it's capable of.
I mean, I play with it.
Whoa, wait, hold on here. What is this? What is with these really weird names? There's some accounts in here I'm looking at that have these really weird names. But so far, a lot of them are older accounts.
Like what? Oh, like the numbers, the weird,
like Rab-PX6FY and JD52. What? Oh, WTF. That's fine.
It's like a mistake. It's not. I don't know, something like in the call for the username or something is weird.
Interesting. Yeah, because I noticed them, and it's like you go to a lot of these accounts, and it looks like it's just a blank account, no icon, nothing. But it was created a long time ago. Like it's an old account.
I wonder if there was a point when you had to like claim your YouTube name, right? Because they started adding the at blah blah blah, and I wonder if these are like older accounts that didn't ever like claim a name, and so it just like gives them a random string.
Yeah, that could be. That definitely could be, because like one of the accounts I clicked on, it's like they do have past history interacting with the channel positively.
Yeah,
so it's like, because I check a lot of these accounts for Daniel, because he gets overly lazy, right? He eventually gets to the point where he just creates the random accounts or whatever, doesn't even put an icon on it, nothing.
Right.
But yeah, so far today there's only been one occurrence. Like I haven't seen any of the other ones, so it's pretty good. D. Hewlett said, "I'm amazed people haven't used AI, not judging, just surprised." I know I feel the same. Like at this point, AI, and when I mean like purposefully use AI, I have to preface that it is purposefully, because you are using AI whether you think you are or not. AI is so deeply integrated into everything. It's like it's a part of Siri now. It's a part of Amazon Alexa. Like it's everywhere. It's in Google now. And so it's like
I also take issue with the prevalence of the use of the word AI. I don't.
That's fair. That's fair. I do think it's kind of bullshit to put it all under the umbrella of AI when it's literally just a local language model, or large language model.
A lot of what people are talking about, it's LLMs, where sometimes it's more just a finely tuned, like when we talk about like image recognition. Right, like the software that can detect cancer in MRIs and stuff. Like, the way that the term is being used now, that would be under that same umbrella, but it's not. Like that is a very specifically trained, like that was probably some sort of neural net or GAN sort of thing to do one very specific thing, where now we've gotten these weird sort of fuzzy multifunctional sort of models that are more even than just LLM in a way. And so it's, I don't know, it bugs me that it's sort of become a catch-all term, and when it really probably shouldn't be. And I don't know, it's just weird.
It's like calling Facebook the internet, right? No, I definitely agree with that, because you like generative AI and LLMs share a common foundation. Like they both work on seeds. They both are using weights to generate, one's generating pixels, one's generating text, but they use similar neural networks underlying, right?
Yeah.
But are they actually thinking? No. Are they actually intelligent by the definition of like what we'd consider human intelligence? No, it's not. It's a tool. It's doing lookups as if you had a massive library of books and you had a table of contents, and that table of contents had a number next to it depending on what the person said, and what they said before the thing that they said changes that number of what you point to in the library, right? It's just a bunch of pointers. It's literally there's no thought going on. It's not like the model sitting there going, oh, well, he wants us to do this. It's like the Sorting Hat in Harry Potter or whatever, right? It's not doing that. Even when you put it in a thinking mode and it looks like it's thinking, it's like, well, the user wants to do this, so maybe we should approach it by doing this and this and this and this. It's just going through the paces of updating the weights to point to the new information. That's all it's doing. It looks to us like it's intelligence, but it's only because it's going through the weights in a way that we look at and think it's intelligent. If it was doing it in machine language, we'd have no fucking clue what it was doing.
Which is kind of how it is going. Like, how many times have you heard from these head honchos that they don't really understand what is happening, why it's making the decisions that it is, and spitting out the fucking answers that it is. They've created this weird black box that they can't really put a finger on and get the same sort of responses back, because the weights are sort of fuzzy and stuff. It's weird.
That's what makes it scary. Is if you look at the code, like the underlying code of an LLM, like the client that's loading the model and facilitating the conversation and everything, you can 100% tell what it's going to do. 100%, you know exactly what it's going to do. The problem is the models, the library of information that the weights point at, and then those weights point to those weights, and it's like a recursive, to the end of time, nth degree. It becomes so complicated with all that training that there's just not enough processing power in the human mind to be able to know what the answer is going to be. However, if you sat down and you had all the time in the universe and you wrote down every single weight and you ran the same algorithm with the same seed, you would come to the exact same conclusion, token for token, as the model. Like it's 100% predictable if you have the bandwidth to predict it. The problem is they don't have the bandwidth to predict it because the training is on so much data over such a vast set that no single person on Earth is aware of all that data and how it relates to each other, that they can't predict how it's going to respond. And that's what makes it scary, is that we know the algorithm. Like, the algorithm is very easy to understand, and you can sit down and compute it out, but the vast amount of data is what makes it complicated and unpredictable. And I would argue that humans are the same way. And this is where I think this is where, in my mind, I feel like intelligence needs to be defined a little bit better, because humans appear intelligent, right? But everything that I do and everything I say, why am I speaking English right now? Because I was raised around people that spoke English, right? Why do I use the words the way that I use them? Because the vast amount of people that are around used them that way. My neurons in my brain are what a neural network is mapped on. Like, the whole idea of a neural network is to simulate what neurons are doing in the brain, and that is stronger and weaker connections across neurons. That's how we store information. That's how we access information in the human brain. So are we just neural networks and we're just unaware of it? Like is our self-awareness manufactured? Yeah, exactly. For all I know, I'm you and you're me and everything. We'd have no concept. We only know what we know because that's what our neurons are telling us, because we are our neurons. So we appear intelligent, and the next thing I say seems random, or I shouldn't say random because it is predictable. If you knew the state of every neuron in my brain right now, you'd be able to predict exactly what the next wave of neurons is going to look like. Like, unless you want to mix quantum nature into it, but you could also say the seed could be the stand-in for quantum nature in the LLM to produce it. Because if you don't have this is a great thing. If you ever want to try this is cool. So set your seed to 1. Go into your LM studio and just set your seed to 1, not 0 or random. Set it to 1. And what this will do is this will ensure that every single time it runs the algorithm, it looks up the exact weights exactly. It doesn't use the seed to calculate a random offset. Because a seed is basically like, I'm looking for a word. There's 100 words here that can be picked that are all of the same weight, but it uses the seed to pseudo-random select one. That's what the seed is for. So if you keep asking it the same question over and over and over again, you never get the same exact response word for word. Right. However, if you use the same seed, you will get the exact same response. If you give the same seed and the same prompt, it has to be a new conversation, though, because remember, as your conversation proceeds, the weights change. Every iteration, the weights change based on your conversation. That's how you're able to like hone in on certain things. Mm-hmm. But if you start a fresh conversation and you copy your prompt, no matter, it could be 1,000-word prompt, give it to your friend on the other side of the world, tell them to set the seed to 1 with the same model, load it, new conversation, they will get exactly the same word-for-word response that you got. Exactly. Like, so it is 100% predictable. The reason it's not predictable is because of that fucking seed. Yep. Like, and the vastness of the data, right? And then as soon as training changes, or you include thinking with MCP, where it can go out and touch servers and do stuff with external tools, each one of those creates another random vector that makes it less predictable. So let's say you don't have a seed, but you tell it can search the web. Well, every time it searches the web, it might get something slightly different. It might get a different character in the HTML that it's putting into the content. Just one token change is enough to throw off that entire seed. So even if you have a fixed seed, you can still get completely different responses by accessing external files and accessing. But as long as everything is equal, if you load the same file into the same prompt and you give it the same text prompt with the same exact seed, same model, new conversation, you will get the exact same response. And if you send the same follow-up prompts in 2 different instances with the same seed, you will get the same follow-up responses too, as long as you don't deviate in either conversation. The second you deviate, now everything will be different from that point on, even if you give it the same prompts. So it is understandable. It's just the sheer amount of data and the random seed is just enough to throw it off to where it's like you can't predict it from the other side backwards. It's like, you know what? It reminds me of hashing. Like crypto hashing.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's very much like that because it's like a crypto hash. There's nothing complicated about reading a hash. Like you can look at a hash and be like, oh, it has this many trailing zeros or leading zeros. That's how Bitcoin works. But to generate a hash with that many leading zeros, you have no idea how long that's going to take. You can only predict it like within a scope because all you can do is generate as many hashes as you can. Even though it's following a fixed algorithm, there's so many permutations that can happen that the only way to find the exact number using the same algorithm is just to keep generating things until you get what you want. That's it. You just have to keep. But once you create that number, it's easy to understand that number and recite that number and copy and give that number to somebody else or memorize that number. But to generate that exact number you're looking for in the first place, it's like the easiest way to explain it, if you ever watch my old Bitcoin video from like 20 years ago, it feels like. I did a video where I explain how Bitcoin works on YouTube. And it's like all Bitcoin is machines that follow a very specific algorithm, a mathematical algorithm, and they're generating hash numbers, which are just, a really big, long hexadecimal number. Right. And it doesn't matter what the numbers at the end are. It's just trying to generate numbers with a certain amount of leading zeros, meaning that the number is like 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and then followed by a bunch of crap. The number of random hashes that you have to generate to get that many zeros at the beginning of a pseudo random generated number using this algorithm is very difficult to do. So when you hear about difficulty, like mining difficulty going up, because the more people that mine or the more difficulty there needs to be, otherwise people would be finding a token way too fast, is the network requires more zeros. So it goes up by an order of magnitude. So it's like, it starts out, you only need to find numbers with 1 0. If you find a number with 1 0 on the beginning, that's a winning lottery ticket. You get a Bitcoin. Now too many people are mining. So now it has to be 2 zeros at the beginning. Now it has to be 3 zeros and 4 zeros. But the rule is everybody has to generate the number using the same algorithm. They can generate as many numbers as they want, as much power as they have in the universe. They can throw it running the algorithm. But once they find that number with those leading zeros, they have to send something called proof of work that tells the system exactly what algorithm they used and what inputs they used to generate that hash number. And the only way to do that is by generating them over and over and over and over again until you finally get one. So it's weird, but going backwards the other direction is super simple. Then once you have the hash, same thing with passwords too. It's like password hashes, right? It's like hashing your real password into a hash, and then using that hash to like verify that you typed in the right password. It's really easy to just create the hash from the text. But in order to create a hash that matches on the text that isn't that original text, would take till the end of time. It could technically do it. Like a hash could match multiple different types of text, but you don't know what text it's going to match on until you generate the number. You have to generate the number first. So that's why it's really difficult to break a password hash, is you have to get, or encryption hash, is you just have to keep trying and trying and trying and trying and trying until the data actually makes sense. But the amount of work you have to do to each iteration to figure that out is astronomically hard. However, if you have the text that generates that hash every time, and you know what that text is in your head with that algorithm, you feed in the text, that algorithm, you get the same response every time. It's instant. But if you don't know what that text is, in order for you to generate random text that'll give you that same number, which you'd have to just iterate and try forever, astronomically low odds. It's like, so it's fast in one direction, but not the other. And that's really where quantum computers kind of fuck us in the end, is because quantum computers apparently are really, really good at breaking hashes. Because a quantum computer can not just try one set of variables. It can use these things called qubits or whatever, and each qubit isn't just multiplying the workload, it's exponentially increasing the workload. So it's like a regular CPU, let's say you have one core. That can process numbers at a certain speed. Well, you add a second core, it doubles how fast you can find those numbers. Well, in quantum computing, it doesn't work that way. In quantum computing, it's like every qubit you add increases it by like more than an order of magnitude. So if you have like 32 qubits, which are like, quantum cores, now you can basically test like every hash number in existence in a couple of minutes, whereas a conventional computer would take until the end of time.
Yeah.
To figure it out. So quantum computers are the one exception that kind of messes with this, as far as I understand it. But those hashes, generating those hashes, that's where AI that's where AI becomes unpredictable, is the sheer number of training, the weights, and how those weights dynamically change each generation based on the order of tokens that you put into it. So inherently, the way humans talk to stuff is going to be different and have little nuances. So even just punctuation missing a period will completely change the response. Like if you use a fixed seed and you take the same exact prompt, it could be the size of an entire novel, and all you do is just change one token, one period. You change the exclamation point or you delete it. You've now changed the response, even though the seed is the same. It has to be exactly the same. So as you keep going, it becomes more and more random, and that's why you can't predict where the shit's gonna go. Oh, James Janus, what did you say? Did I miss a couple of your messages? My bad. Let's see here. James Janus. Let me just click on him. It's easier. Click on it. Here, go to channel. Where is it? Channel activity. What did he say? With AI, do you think it'll ever get to the point where we can fully trust it in regards to information? No, you can't even trust a search engine. You can't even trust books. So you can't fully trust AI either.
Yep.
AI says it's okay to take meds. Turns out the med kills or whatever information. Yeah, and here's the thing. I can go ask the literally chief head of our government for all health, who literally has a brain worm and was a heroin addict and like strapped dead animals to his car. I can go to him and ask him if I should get a shot for the measles, because there's measles outbreaks, because there's no, because people aren't getting vaccines anymore for it. So now it's like spread. I could go to him and ask him for advice, but do you think his advice is going to be good? Yeah, he's our so-called expert in the field, and he's the top advisor, and he runs the CDC and blah, blah, blah. But does that mean he's a good source of information? No. Nothing guarantees that your source of information is going to be good. So yeah, there's no guarantee that AIs are ever going to always give you good information. There's no guarantee a book is ever going to give you all good information. I mean, hell, look, like one of the books people follow today that's like 2,000 years old still tells you that slavery is okay and you're allowed to beat your wife and she can't talk in church, right? So it's all perspective, right? One person can look at a piece of information from a book and say, I think this is right and this is perfect and I 100% agree with it. That's called alignment, right? So with AI, you have alignment. How aligned are you with the AI? Do you believe what it's saying is true? Then to you, it's true and it's accurate, right? Even if it's a feedback loop and it just tells you what you want to hear, even if it's scientifically wrong, if you think it's right, then you're going to believe it and you're going to trust it. But then there's people that it's scientifically right and they're not going to trust it. So, but just to avoid complicating it too much, no, you won't ever be able to trust AI 100%. However, will it get better at getting closer to scientific responses as time goes on? Only if the training goes in that direction. Yeah. Because it's all about the training. Just like you and me. If you raise me up to believe the earth is flat, I'm going to tell everybody the earth is flat. I'm going to give them all my bad evidence. Mm-hmm. I'm going to even be convincing. I'm even going to give them arguments that they're going to look at and go, oh, wow, I never thought of it that way. The earth must be totally flat. But that's because I think the earth is flat, because that's how I was taught, and the data that was given to me was skewed.
Yep.
So, garbage in, garbage out. So as far as AI is becoming trustworthy on any kind of level, you have to look at how was the AI trained? What type of systems are in place to verify the data? Like, is it being internally verified or externally verified? Like, for instance, if it comes up with an answer and it's a thinking AI, does it go out to the web and find multiple sources to support its argument just to make sure that it's not creating something that's completely nuanced and out there?
Right.
Shit like that will improve the response. But yeah, are you always guaranteed to get a good response? No. Even the best LLM in the world right now could still slip up and tell you to take the wrong medication to kill yourself and completely think that it's telling you the right piece of information, because the majority of the information it was trained on just happened to lean in that direction.
Yeah. Man, I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah, no
dude.
worries, man. You go ahead and get out of here. Sorry for the late start
Oh,
today.
yeah. No, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's all
no,
good.
I appreciate you, brother. You go enjoy your weekend.
Yeah. Right on. You too, man. Bye, everybody. Don't let Jerry stay up too late.
I'm not going to be able to. I'm already fading hard, dude. All right, take it easy, brother.
Have a good one. Bye, everybody. See you.
Later. And then there was me. That's weird. I slept really good, but my throat and vocal cords hurt. Now I got a headache on top of that. So yeah, I might be fighting a little bug. I think I pushed myself too hard last week and kind of fucked myself up a little. Oh yeah, the double slit experiment. Yeah, that's crazy. Proving that light is both a particle and a wave at the same time. Yeah, that's quantum shit. Quantum is where stuff starts falling apart and stops making a lot of sense conventionally. And that's why I say, could you predict what a human's going to do if you knew the state of every neuron in their brain? Hypothetically, yeah, or theoretically, yes. But the one thing that we don't know is the quantum. At the quantum level, does that quantum level in any way influence or break the conventional mechanics of the energy moving through our neurons? Right? It's like we know that we have a what do they call it? Biologically generated current, not unlike an electric eel that drives our muscles and drives our neuron communication in our brain. And we know that disrupting that system completely changes who we are, how we perceive ourselves, and how others around us perceive us, changing us as a person. We also know that drugs can have the same effect too, right? Anything that disrupts or alters that biochemical electric system can change everything, right, on a whim and make it unpredictable as shit. But the question is there a quantum nature in there that makes it unpredictable, or is it conventionally predictable and we're just missing variables, right? But again, just like with AI, it's like you have to look at it from the perspective of, even if you knew every single variable at that exact point in time, you might be able to predict what the person's doing next, but they already did that thing and 500,000 other things by the time you had the information to act on it, which means now that information's old. It's like you predicted what they could do next, but it took you so long to make that prediction. They already did that thing and a dozen other things, so that prediction's useless now. It's like, why did you need the prediction? You could have just waited for the person to do the thing and it would have been faster and used less resources. Yeah, actually, the three-body problem. Yeah, actually, that's a good thing to bring up, is the three-body problem. If you don't know what the three-body problem is, it's how easy it is to track a planet's orbit around a singular body. So if you have two planets or two masses, a sun and a planet, or two planets, a moon and a planet, you can absolutely 100% calculate their orbits. But as soon as you bring a third mass into the equation, and now you have a third body that's orbiting or moving in within those, and that gravity is affecting those other two bodies, the algorithm to detect the absolute path is like really difficult, if not impossible, to figure out. It's like the variables become more astronomically more complex, because normally you're saying this force is enacting a force on this thing, and this thing's enacting a force on this thing, and you can figure it out. But now you add a third object, and it's like, these two things are imparting forces on each other. Well, these two things are imparting forces on each other. Well, these things are imparting forces on each other. Well, these two things are imparting forces on each other and forces on each other. And it just becomes this like exponential mess. And if you run the algorithm through an iteration so that each object can move to calculate the next movement, you throw everything off. Because by calculating the other two, unless you can calculate every single movement, every single effect all simultaneously at exactly the same time, it doesn't work. And it's either three or four bodies total, but I think it's the three bodies. but yeah, it becomes, and so the way that we actually calculate it and figure out things like Lagrange points and stuff like that in space is completely different than trying to compute the problem directly. It has something to do with it's weird. We create if I remember right, it's like a grid of values, and as they get closer to the object based on its mass and based on its gravity, it affects, it exponentially increases the effect of those numbers, and it creates a grid, and you're basically just going through and looking up values in this grid and computing those values against each other. And it's a way of like simulating and predicting where the things will be, and it's actually like a pretty decent prediction that works, but it's not you're not computing the exact anything. You're basically creating a crutch. It's very weird. It's so weird. I don't even fucking understand it, if I'm honest with you. I watched a YouTube video like 3 times trying to understand how the fuck it's like, because to me, I look at it and I'm like, how could that be hard? Like, right? You got a moon going around to Earth, and you got an Earth and a moon going around the sun. It's like, just look at all their effects on each other and compute it out. But it's like, the effects are not, they're not like constant and predictable, because everything is affecting each other differently at the exact same moment in time. So AI will never be 100% trusted. But I can also say the same thing for books. I can say the same thing for humans. I can say the same thing for websites. I can say the same things for our eyes, our ears, our touches, our smell. There is no such. I'm one of those people that I don't believe that there's such thing as 100%. It's like you can get close to 100%. Like, everything's a quest to get closer to 100%, but there is no 100%. And you might say, oh, but like physics, pi, these are constants that are 100%. It's like, not really. They are, yes, but they're infinite, and you just keep on going and going and going. You never can just go, boom, I've got the absolute, this is the one number, this is as far as pi can go. It can't go no further. Actually, pi is a bad example, because I think you can't actually calculate pi out now. But things like quantum forces, right? And other things that enact on the environment, and the three body problem. It just seems like there's always going to be room for doubt on some level. Like, you can be 99.99999% sure that this thing is going to move here based on all these variables. But there's variables that you will inevitably always miss or not see and have to predict or compute. And then look at the results of what's happening to check your work to see if it was correct. It's kind of like our standard model for like mathematics and stuff. It's like, yeah, it works for like 99.999% of everything, but there's like certain little things that it doesn't work with that tell us that we don't have it 100% right. But it's close enough, and it computes enough things that it gets as close as we need for whatever it is we're doing. But just think of AI. The way I look at AI is just a search engine that is compatible with how we think, right? You're not just looking up words and phrases. You're taking how a person thinks and mapping that, and the words and the meanings of those words and everything is everybody as a group together. Everybody's going to be a little different, though, so the responses are going to be different levels of accuracy for each person. But it's taking how we think and then translating that into a response that we can understand. And I think that's where AI's, I'm saying LLMs, bridge a huge gap. Because LLMs are going to allow people at any education levels who speak any language to understand things that otherwise they wouldn't understand, because the person explaining it to them could not bridge that gap themselves. But having the combined knowledge of how everybody communicates with each other on every possible level, right, wrong, or otherwise, every education level, every grammatically inaccurate level, like, all that stuff can be mitigated with LLMs and using weights. And the bigger the contexts get, the bigger the parameters get, the bigger the training data set gets, the better these models are going to be at narrowing things down for a larger group of people and being closer to being right than wrong across the board for the vast majority of them. But it'll never be perfect. And that's the thing, is nothing's perfect. You just have to accept that nothing's perfect. You're just on a quest to try to get close, right? Let's see here. Your brain hurts. My brain hurts a lot today, dude. I didn't think that I'd have to think on this level today. Let me tell you. Did you see Trump is using Joe Rogan now for health advice, promoting mushrooms? I mean, it doesn't surprise me. There's money involved.
I made the correct theory that Trump is only motivated by money and his own personal power. So if he's promoting Joe Rogan one day, he's promoting another person the other day, or he's shooting him down or contradicting, it's all because money from that person, money or power or the intertransferability of either of those things has changed in his favor in exchange for him doing the thing. And that's why every single day he says something different. Every single day he contradicts himself and does something different. It's just whatever that day makes him the most money and gives him the most power or leverage. He just does it. He doesn't question it. He doesn't look at, oh, this is going to make me a hypocrite or this is going to make me a liar. Every single decision that he makes is governed simply by, do I get more than the other person? Do I benefit more than the other person? That's all that matters to him. Some YouTuber called Average Gamer or something showed an LLM creating a simulation of the solar system. That was interesting. Hey, what's up, Biker Chris? How's it going, man? Yeah, I saw that same video. And yeah, you can actually create a lot of simulations with AI. AI is pretty good at creating a lot of simulations because it can look up online a lot of the public mathematical algorithms for stuff. So I could even say, shit, I could probably even have the three body problem calculated out using it. Like, shit, let's do that. Here, I'm curious. Here, let's fire up. I'll just use Brew Chat so we don't have to do the generative thing. Here, let's go into Brew Chat. Let me open up GPT 5.4. Oh, interesting. Is Codex? Hey, if you're still here, Brewboss, is GPT 5.3 Codex the only Codex, or is there a 5.4 Codex? Because I've been using 5.4 when I've been doing my coding projects, but why is 5.3 Codex but 5.4 is not? That's interesting to me. I don't really know why. Because it does support responses over chat, so it is tool enabled. So, but shit, let me just see here. Write me a Python script that gives me a graphical animation demonstrating the three body problem between multiple different planets with adjustable masses, sizes, etc. Configurable with sliders, and it all needs to open under a single HTML file. Actually, no, I'm not going to use Python. I'm going to say, write me a HTML5 web page in a single .html file that shows me an animation of the three body problem in action with sliders to impact masses of objects and to affect time. I want this to be a really good simulation. So put a cool star field in the background and make it a 3D view that can be moved around with the mouse, and also use any assets you find online for planet textures, etc. Go. I mean, I'm just, what the hell, right? Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Oh, just 5.3 is the last one. 5.4 is up there, no codex. It's all one model now. It's using the PTU, so let's see how it works. Awesome. Oh, did you move me over to the PTU? So it's just, oh yeah, something went wrong while contacting the model. Please try again later. Okay, so that's why it's broken. I was wondering why it was broken earlier. I was trying to use GPT. All the other models work fine, but the GPT models are broken under Brew Chat. I was wondering why. Now I know. It's because you moved me over to PTU. Yeah, let me know when you fix it, and I'll give it another shot later. But yeah, right now it's broke. Here, I'll open up Visual Studio Code and see if it's broken in there too. But I noticed it was broken in Brew Chat earlier. I didn't have time to tell you before the stream. But I didn't know you moved me. But that's part of being a beta tester, is, you know, things are going to change, and it just happens. You just roll with it. Biker Chris, thank you for the £5. Said, I've been looking into connecting a local LLM into logsec install. It looks involved, but I'm going to slowly do it because that might be handy. I don't know what logsec is, so I couldn't tell you if that's hard or otherwise. It should be good on the V1 endpoint. Is Brew Chat on the V1 endpoint, or did you just move me over on Brew Chat, but you didn't move me over on the other stuff? Because that'd be ideal. Like, just so the other stuff continues to work normally and I don't get any unexpected stuff. Here, let me see. Where did my Brew Chat go? Here, let me pull up my Brew Chat test. Is it still broken? GPT 5.4. Let me see if it oh, yep, now it's working. Okay, so yeah, you fixed it. All right, so write me HTML5. I'm going to do thinking level high and let her eat. All right, let's see what happens. Oh, brew chat. Okay, so brew chat's working now. Tech Brew Boss, I don't know what you changed, but as soon as I told you it was broken, and it was broken early, now it's working. So whatever you changed worked. If you didn't change anything, then that's just impeccable timing. All right, so here we go. Now it's searching the web. So so I'm using GPT 5.4 thinking high, and I'm using it through brew chat, and I'm going to have it create that HTML file that has the entire 3-body problem simulation in it, and I'm going to see what it comes up with. Carol said it's not going to have precision or accuracy, but neat to see what method it comes up with. Well, I mean, there's not going to be any precision or accuracy in any of them because we haven't solved the 3-body problem. Even our best, our most accurate model for computing the 3-body problem isn't actually computing it. It's using estimations based on tables. I'm actually curious to see if this uses the same method. I'm curious to see if this looks up and finds the same translation tables to do it the same way. But I'm curious to see how it does it. Like that's what I'm most interested in, is not seeing the actual problem animated, which will be cool. But I want to see what method it's using to compute it. Okay, why did it just go away? Is it back now? Ah, shit. Hey, Tech Brew Boss, can I ask you a question? If the tab gets refreshed or it crashes and reloads, does the prompt get completely lost, or will that conversation still eventually update if I leave it? Because the page, I clicked the little X to close out the thing at the top, and it reloaded the page. And when it reloaded the page, now it looks like it's not doing anything, like it wants another prompt in the conversation. So does it just stop the conversation and lose the tokens, and you just have to redo it again? Or if I wait long enough, will it just update the conversation? Oh, you didn't change anything, so it just magically started working? That's crazy, dude. Yeah, because it was broken before the stream, and it was broken during the stream, and then right after I told you it was broken, all I did was just wait a couple seconds, and I thought you changed something, I hit enter, and it worked. So, gotta love that, man. Network, thank you for the $5. He said, thank you for fingerprinting tip last week. I've since daily driven both Firefox and resisting fingerprinting equal true with Molvad. Have not hit any snags yet. Same here. Same here. I don't know why they disable them by default. I thought that it'd fuck up Cloudflare really bad, but no, I'm same as you. I'm running with fingerprinting disabled, and I haven't had any issues with any of the websites I use. Oh, it should appear? Okay, then I'm gonna leave this conversation sit then and see if it shows up. Let's see here. All right, we'll come back and see if it actually shows up. Yeah, it's weird. You know what'd be cool? Tech Brew Boss, normally I'd just tell you, oh, I hit the TPM limit on the PTU? Wow, with that one prompt? Okay, so that's not a good method. Okay, so I'll have to redo it again then, because if it hit the limit, that means it can't go any further, right? So I have to start a new conversation, do it again. Here, let me try using I'll use Opus for this since GPT ran out of units. Where is it? Claude Opus 4.6, same task, and I'll let it eat. I'm actually surprised I hit the limit that fast on the PTU. That's insane. Oh, you guys are on the same set. Okay, I gotcha. All right, here we go. The user wants a single HTML file with the 3-body problem simulated featuring a 3D view, mouse-controlled camera, sliders for masses and time, starfield background, planet textures from online sources, and good physics simulation. Let me create a comprehensive single-file HTML file with 3JS, orbit controls, and proper gravitational n-body simulation. It's going to use 3JS from CDN, orbit controls from CDN, online planet textures from NASA, gravitational simulation with velocity, Verlet, or similar integrator, trail lines to visualize the orbital paths, UI sliders for adjusting masses and simulation speed. For the physics, it's going to implement gravitational forces using F equals G times M1 times M2 divided by R to the second power. And I'll use a symplectic integer like velocity Verlet for better energy conservation. Okay, it's building the complete simulation now. It's implementing a leapfrog integer for stability since the 3-body problem creates a chaotic, visually interesting motion. Okay, it's going to polish it with bloom effects, orbital trails, and clean UI with mass and time sliders. All right, here it goes. Okay, now it's writing the HTML. Okay, here you go. It's finished. Okay, this is the full featured 3-body gravitational simulation. Save it to the HTML file and open it in your Edge browser.
Oh, now it's writing the code. Okay, never mind. Okay, it's writing the code. It just put it in a separate window. All right, I'm gonna let it eat and work on that. And we'll try it in the end. Okay, so now if I open a new conversation with GPT, it should now do the NPU stuff. Sweet. Hey, take it easy, Anthony. You have yourself a good weekend. Oh, really? You're noticing PTU? No, so here's what's interesting I'm trying to figure out is so when you are using PTU on Azure, you're loading OpenAI's model onto those Azure servers and running it there. So it's no longer hosted by OpenAI, correct? Because if it was still hosted by OpenAI, I would think it'd be the same speed if you're just accessing it through API to OpenAI. But if you're accessing it on Azure, does that mean that Microsoft has permission to just load GPT's proprietary models on their servers and serve them directly? That's interesting. I mean, I guess it's not surprising. I mean, Microsoft pretty much owns OpenAI for the most part. I mean, not really, but they honestly do. if you think about it. Oh, is it still? Oh, there we go. Okay. I think it did it. You know what? That's a hell of a lot less code than I would have thought it would take to do this. If this works, I'll be surprised because this is only a couple hundred lines at best. Okay, here, let's give it a try here. They host most of OpenAI's models. That makes sense. That actually makes sense. All right, so here, notepad 3body.html. Okay, dumped it in there. So now let's go open it up, and I want to see if this works. So I'm going to open up C, temp 3body HTML. Okay. Okay, that is definitely not correct. Those planets are flying away from each other. That is not how any of that should work. Okay, so, okay, it didn't get it right on the first try. So yeah, there's no gravity influencing any of them. They're all flying away from a single point in space. So that's not correct. So let me slow down time, total trail length. Okay, increase the masses and then reset. Okay, I'm going to take a screenshot and I'm going to give it back to it. So let's go back to BrewChat. Where'd you go, BrewChat? I lost you. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to ask BrewChat. The simulation isn't working quite right. All the bodies just go directly away from each other without any gravity influence on each other at all. Here is a screenshot illustrating the bad paths, and then I'll paste it in there. Okay, image and go. Let's see if it can fix the problem with an image. So I basically gave it a screenshot. Wait, you said no? It's not working because the 3-body problem, the gravity would still, you can't have 3 planets starting at an exact point in space all moving away from each other at a constant speed without any effect on each other. That's not practical. No, I already did that. First thing I did was increase the mass of the planets. It made no effect. So there was literally no gravity effect at all, period. And when I say they were moving away from each other, they weren't moving out from a single point. Because again, remember, I'm not imparting any acceleration on them. But they're moving away like this. Like there's a planet here, planet here, planet here, and they're moving away like this. So that's like completely wrong. You can't see what I'm seeing. So I know you don't believe me, but it's not working. So I'm gonna have it fix it. Okay, looking at the screenshot, Jerry is right. The bodies are just flying apart in straight lines. This is an issue with the initial conditions and the gravitational constant scaling. Let me analyze the problem. The G scale is too low, 0.15. The gravitational force is way too weak relative to the initial velocities of the planet. The initial velocities are far too high relative to the gravitational pull. The figure 8 initial conditionings are wrong. The famous figure 8 solution. Okay, here it goes. It's fixing it. So the problem is the gravitational constant was too small. Even when I made the planet as big as it could possibly be, it didn't scale the gravity. So they still just kept moving away from each other at the same constant rate. So hold on. We'll see if it fixes it. It's right in the new code right now. I think the biggest problem with the simulation is that it wouldn't let me put the planets close together. It was starting the planets at a fixed distance from each other, and the gravitational constant was too small. So the math may have been correct, but the bodies weren't close enough for that math to be visualized. So now it's going to fix it so that the math is right. So it has a really good explanation of the problem. So, and it did find one other issue with the figure 8 problem, where it puts them on a figure 8 trajectory. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when it blows it. I mean, it's a beautiful looking simulation, though. Biker Chris, thank you for the £5. He said, I bought and paid for Universe Sandbox. If I can figure it out, I'll send 3 planets away from each other for fun. Oh, that'd be cool. Is that an actual physics simulation like Universe Sandbox? I'm guessing that's. Oh wait, is Universe Sandbox that program that one YouTuber uses where he always creates the videos like what happens if a grain of sand hits Earth at light speed or something like that? All right, still writing the code for the new one. It's getting close though. It should be almost done. Oh, here we go. All right, so the G scale was way too low for the initial velocities. It's now updated. So let me copy this. So I'm going to put it back into the file. So let's go. Because I think the math was right. Nothing was close enough and the gravity wasn't strong enough. The bodies were moving too fast away from each other. All right, why is this not copying everything? Jump to bottom. Oh, because it's still writing it. I thought it finished writing the code because it started writing back in the other window, but it wasn't done yet. It's still writing. All right, let me let it eat. There we go. Okay, now it's got all the code. Let me copy it out of here. And then paste it into here. Whoa, some of these formulas look crazy. I am not a mathematician by any stretch of the imagination. All right, let's load up our new 3-body problem here. Where did it go? I had a window open. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay, reload 3-body problem. Okay, this looks better. Let me slow the speed down. Trail length. Okay, move that one bigger. And then reset. Okay, let's see what they do. Ha, it's working. All right, now it's working. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to make this body bigger. And then the speed up time. Oh, this is cool. Man, I wish I could show you guys the screen. This is super cool. I have two planets orbiting each other now in a weird chaotic orbit. Okay, I'm reducing the mass on one of them. Okay, and then here, make that one bigger. Okay, I'm gonna do a figure 8. Figure 8's still broken. Okay, now I'm gonna do a Lagrange model. Okay, they're all now this is right. So I got three bodies, and they're chasing each other around. So now I'm gonna increase the mass of one of them dramatically and see if it pulls the others in. All right, let's see here. Can I zoom out? Yep, here they come. Yeah, now it's working. Now it's working. Give me a sec here. I can't cast the tab in this browser. Let's see. Actually, I'll just give you guys the file over on Discord. Here, I can upload it in off topic. Here, upload file, ctemp 3-body, HTML. If you open this in the browser, it will simulate the 3-body problem we're talking about on stream. And on stream, you need to increase the mass of one of the planets by a lot and then hit reset. All right, there you go. If you guys want to try this out, go into off topic on my Discord server. I just uploaded the HTML file. You can just open this up and then you can play around with it. You can create chaotic, butterfly, Lagrange, and figure 8 3-body simulations. And it's actually pretty damn cool. Here, let me blow this one up and then hit reset. Oh, wow. I can see why this would be really hard to compute because, man, it does look really chaotic. It's not... Oh wow, and then you got then the third body comes in. Oh wow, and it like button hooks around. She's like, this is crazy, man. This is fucking cool. I think it's neat that you can just do this in an HTML file these days. Here, let's do time control. I can slow it down. Make one body like super huge. I'm gonna see if it sucks in the other two. Yep, here they come, bringing them in. This is cool. Oh. Jerry, what AI do you think it needs to be consolidated? Main LV in regards to information, mostly talking LLMs. We can't have different information or advice depending which AI is used. I think what you mean is like, how do we consolidate AI so that you don't get different responses from different AIs? Sadly, you're always going to get different responses from different AIs because how they were trained, the order that the data was trained in, how many epochs the training took place, how many parameters the model has, how much context you have in the conversation that you have with the model. All these things are factors that are going to change how it responds. Now, even though the responses are all going to be different, I think what you mean is like, how do we get to the point where they're all responding, even though the responses are different, the underlying message that it's conveying with its responses is technically close to accurate, like getting closer to accurate for all of them. I think that's something that could happen. But again, you're always going to have models that in order for them to be trained to be really good at one thing, they have to compromise being good at another thing. And I think the biggest way to deal with that is they're just going to have to figure out how to create models. They're going to have to figure out how to create models that can tell you no and can admit that they don't know the answer. Because right now you can't do that. With LLMs, it always gives you the weights always lead to an answer, even if that answer is completely wrong or nonsensical. So when you get a model that says, oh, I can't tell you that, or I can't, a lot of that is external rules and prompting that basically says to give a canned response if it's the weight of the answer is below a certain threshold. But we need to get to a point where AI can literally look at itself and say, you know what? I don't think I have enough training to give a good answer. Even though I have an answer to give, I don't think it's of a high enough quality. So I'm going to choose not to provide that answer even though I have it, so that the user doesn't, get misled. But then again, you're going to have people that are going to want the answer even though it's wrong, because getting the answer and seeing it's wrong may help them find a better data set to train into the model to make it right in that area, or make it more right in that area, or more aligned in that area as time goes on. A lot of companies are now limiting how many tabs can be open at once because they don't want to upgrade RAM. I mean, RAM prices are insane right now, and they're not going to come down for a long time. Remember how crypto mining drove up the prices of GPUs? Now, like VRAM is the most prized thing on the planet. Like GDDR7, GDDR7X, even 6, GDDR6, GDDR5. These are super prized memories now, needed for AI inference. And there's not enough RAM being manufactured to satisfy the need for that RAM for AI inference. So and training too. So I really think that it's going to be a long time before we see new consumer GPUs coming out. The cost of computers overall are going to be high unless they start, using a slower RAM. Like I could even see some companies going backwards, building computers with DDR4 instead of DDR5 just to reduce the price, because there's just far less of a need for DDR4 than there is for DDR5, for instance. Biker Chris said, oh, sorry. He said, no need to read it out. Hey, thank you for the £5, dude. Oh, damn, you can't get Universe Sandbox running? Oh, no worries, man. No worries. If you do get it running, though, I'd be curious to see what the simulation looks like in that versus what this HTML simulation looks like. Bought RAM for £85. Now it's $400. Yeah, it went up. Like, I think last time I looked, the price increase, like the general price increase for RAM is over 700% now. So, and there's a lot of factors that play into that. A lot of it is Trump's economy accounts for about 100 or 200% of it, the tariffs and his bullshit war. But the biggest increase is AI needing more of it. AI is a thirsty beast. And unlike crypto, where, you know, the next generation of cards cause a difficulty increase that make everybody abandon the last generation hardware so it can be repurposed for other stuff, you're going to find that AI isn't going to be doing that. Like, AI is going to consistently keep using and adding on over time. Like, it's going to be an insatiable beast. Unless we get to the point where we can manufacture more RAM than the power grid can handle in these dense packed data centers, where there's now a surplus for external customers to buy, you're not going to see prices come down because companies are always going to sell for the most money they can get per unit. That's just capitalism, right? So if the AI companies are willing to pay more and they're all competing in this price war to get a hold of that RAM as fast as it can be produced and try to buy capacity off the other person, it's just going to just keep going up. Let's see here. I bet people jump. I mean, right now, if you have an RTX 5090, you can sell it for more than what you paid for it. Like, that's crazy. You could go buy a graphics card. You probably use that thing for the next year or two and sell it for more than what you paid for it if you got it at MSRP. Just fucking crazy. Hey guys, I hate to do this to you, but I got to shut down. I know normally I stay a little bit longer than this for Tech Talk, especially when I started later, but I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling actually pretty sick to my stomach right now. So I don't know what I got into yesterday, but yeah, something is not computing with me right now. So I figure I'm not going to push it. I did really push myself hard this last week, and yesterday I set up that new mattress in our bedroom all by myself, removed the old mattress, set up the new mattress, and just completely fucking annihilated my back. But actually my back felt okay when I started the stream today. So I don't feel like this is pain induced. I feel like I'm actually sick. Yeah, sure. I just wish that my health would hold out a little better. God damn, it's getting old. This ain't gonna work long term. I really need to get set up, though, so that I can show you guys screen. That's especially on Twitch. Twitch is the big place where I need to do that. So when I'm feeling a little better, hopefully tomorrow I'll come up here and I'll start working on a VM and see if I can get that built out so that I can show you guys. Because a lot of stuff, it's no fun watching somebody talk about what they're doing. Like, you want to see what they're doing. And with this AI stuff, that's fucking critical. Like, that's 90% of the thing. So I'm going to try to work on that. Maybe I'll even bring back a couple effects, too. Now that I got DMX working again on my network, that means I can hook up the lights and I can get the smoke machine going again. Although the smoke machine I might hold off on just for a little while, even though I know you guys love it so much. Because, one, it sets off the fire alarm. And, two, I've been having some troubles breathing lately. And I don't want to overly, you know, saturate my environment with something that's going to be a little hard on my lungs. I know glycol's not the worst thing for your lungs, but still probably not the greatest thing either when you're already having trouble breathing. You guys are fucking awesome, though. I want to thank everybody again. Biker Chris, thank you so much for that support there at the end. Netware, absolute legend. You guys, everybody today that showed support, I really appreciate you. It's like every couple of bucks actually really does help me survive a little bit longer, and I truly do appreciate each and every one of you guys. Oh my God, dude. Biker Chris, thank you for the 10 pounds, dude. He said, you get well soon, Jerry. You look like you're fading, so look after yourself. Yeah, I felt okay. Man, when I started the stream, I slept good last night. Like shit, last night I slept better than I've slept in the whole last year, so I don't know why I'm feeling like shit so bad. It was like halfway through the stream, I was having trouble talking, and now I drank water, and I still feel like my throat is a little closed up, and I'm having a little trouble breathing through my sinuses. And I just, all my joints are kind of hurting, and then I started getting nauseous, and I got a headache now. So I'm like, where the fuck is this coming from? I don't know, man. Sometimes shit just hits me like this. Maybe I need to get caught up on sleep. I had a really rough, this last week was really rough. So maybe I just need to catch up on a bunch of sleep now that I've got a mattress that doesn't suck total balls. Hey, Alex B, thank you so much for the €2, dude. Super appreciate it, man. You're awesome. How's the air conditioning unit? Was the last time you cleaned it? It's been a minute. It's been a minute since it's cleaned. It probably wouldn't hurt. I can't take aspirin. Aspirin kills me. I can't take aspirin. I can't take ibuprofen. I can't take naproxen. Tylenol is the only thing I can take, and I'm not even supposed to take that because my liver enzymes are elevated. And acetaminophen or paracetamol, depending on where you're at in the planet, fucks your liver up. So I got to be careful with it. Although I think I am gonna go take. I think I'm gonna go take a muscle relaxer and just knock myself out for the rest of the day. See if I can get some more good sleep in that new mattress. Get a CO2 monitor in the room just in case. That's not a bad idea, actually. I probably should. This room might be a little too sealed up, but I don't think so because the air conditioner in the window has tons of little gaps and shit that bugs get in and stuff. So, but you know what? I don't know. What does a CO2 monitor cost for, because I could just add it to my AC controller, right? Here, Arduino CO2 monitor. Let's see. What do these things cost? $13? That's not too bad. Carbon dioxide sensor, VOCs, TVOC, gas sensor, temperature, humidity sensor, 19. Oh, no, that's got battery views. One piece, air quality sensor, hazardous gas detection module for Arduino. Does it have CO2? Let me see. Hold on here. Wide detection range, capable of detecting NH3, NOx, alcohol, benzene, smoke, CO2, and other harmful gases. $5.99. What a deal. Buy now. When will it get here? Let's see. $6.49 with tax. It can be delivered tomorrow between 4 and 8 a.m. Beautiful. This is actually a pretty nice little sensor, too. Okay, and it doesn't do CO2. It also does hazardous. Oh, beautiful. Wait, why is... What? Oh, fuck that. I was like, it went up to $10 shipping and handling. No, I don't need it. So wait. If I'm willing to wait one day, it's free. But if I want it early in one day, it's $2.99. Fuck that. I'm just... Here, $6.54. That's what I'll pay. $6.54. There we go. Done deal. I have a CO2 monitor in my bedroom downstairs. I don't have one upstairs, Histario. And the one I have downstairs, it like if you fart, it goes up to 1,000. Like it's way too sensitive. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take here. I'll show you guys if you guys want to see the one I bought. Here, I'll send you a link. So here is the sensor I just purchased. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this module and I'm gonna tie it into my ESP32 AC controller. And then when I go to the dashboard, I'll be able to see all the different levels of the different gases and CO2 and everything in the room. And what'll be neat about this is I can put a ventilation fan in, and I can have it monitor the CO2 levels. And if the CO2 levels get too high, I can have the ventilation fan kick on and exchange the room and the air in the room. That'll be pretty cool. This will be a neat feature, though. This will be a cool feature to add to my little ESP32 air quality thing. It already controls other fans. I don't know if you guys know this, but I added functionality to it that when the AC turns off, it turns on a fan on the other side of the room that just stirs the air in the room. And then when the AC turns back on, it kicks that fan off because that fan ends up moving just a little bit too much air and you get a cold breeze. And so I already set up support on it to where it can trigger other TAPO and CASA switches. So I could put, if I wanted, I could put like a fan over there, a fan over there, a fan over there, and I can have it turn on with the AC, have it turn off with the AC. I can have it just automatically turn on and off every couple of minutes. Like I went way too far with the AC controller project. That fucking thing, it's no longer just AC control. Now it's like full REST API. I can integrate with everything. No, here, get rid of that. So like right now, looking at the room, I have full status that shows me the temperature in the room. And by the way, I figured out how to get the temperature sensor accurate. I've been having problems with the temperature sensor, always reading 4 degrees too high or 4 degrees too low. It turns out you need airflow over the sensor. If you just have the sensor sitting in stagnant air, it only adjusts like to a real temperature every 15 or half an hour, and it fucking throws off the AC cycle. So what I did is I just took a USB fan blowing on it. So it just has a tiny bit of airflow going over the top of the sensor, and now it's like accurate, like flawlessly accurate. It's fucking amazing. So now I have perfect temperature and perfect humidity data. It's not all fucked up. So that's really nice. But now I have like total control over everything. Like right now I have a TAPO switch connected to this fan. It says turn off circulating fan when the AC is on, and then turn on circulating fan when the AC is off. Then I have my sensor where I can use like 3 different types of temperature and humidity sensors it supports. I have a scheduled trigger, by the way. This morning, I always forget to turn on the AC before I come up to the room for Tech Talk. So I scheduled an event, and it actually fired perfectly. So this morning, at 10 a.m., when I woke up, the AC automatically kicked on at 10 a.m. with the scheduler and started cooling the room down. So the room was perfectly cool when I came up here and ready to go without me having to leave the AC on, or, I forget and then turn it on half the stream. I'm super hot. So that worked good. I've got full logging, shows me all the logs and everything. And again, everything's at REST endpoints, like everything. I can pull every piece of data from this, and I can trigger everything down to the LED that's on the ESP32 flashing different colors and shit. I even have full system information. It's got a task manager. I literally had it write like a task manager equivalent where it shows me how many cores are on the chip. Like right now it's an ESP32S3 with 2 cores. The last one only had 1 core. The chip temperature is 79.2 degrees Fahrenheit. The CPU is running at 240 megahertz right now. It's got 16 megabytes of flash RAM. It's got 8 megabytes of PS RAM. I bought a beefier module to run it. It's been running for 9,910 minutes continuously. Yeah. So yeah, and it records everything. It's dude, it's so cool. Like I'm super happy with this program that AI vibe coded. It updates with an NTP server and makes sure that it has time, and it adjusts for daylight savings time. It can do adaptive cooling where it learns the room, how fast the AC cools the room down and how fast the room heats up under load, and then it can figure out how to preempt the AC to turn it on and shut it off sooner or later to keep it tighter within its temperature band. I mean, it's fucking cool. It even wrote its own whole help page telling you how to use all the REST endpoints and all the webhooks and stuff. It's fucking awesome. Once I get screen capture and I've got everything set up on a VM, I'm gonna walk you guys through this and show you how cool it is. Did I ever get a gap on the door? Yes, the door does have a gap now. Yeah, I don't know. I do need to stop. I'm definitely not getting a second wind. I'm still feeling like shit. I love you guys, though. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you guys so much. I really do. Once that sensor gets here tomorrow or the next day, I'll tie it into the AC and I'll show you guys the live data throughput from it. And you know what's cool is I can also trigger an alarm off it. I can have it actually set off an alarm on my phone by sending a webhook to shortcuts, or I can have it work through email. There's a whole bunch of shit you can do, but I can basically have it tell me if the CO2 level gets too high and set off some kind of audible thing. I can have it flash the lights in the room because the lights in my room are connected to CASA switches. So I can create an event on the AC controller that says if CO2 or noxious gas gets above a certain level where I deem it too unsafe, I can have it flash the lights on the ceiling, which would be kind of cool. I can even have it like intermittently flash them back and forth like, you know, like police lights. Oh, lots of cool shit. Wait, I know you're not a fan of TP-Link smart devices and plugs. Not sure if you either have one or abused one. The TP-Link HS300, I have one that's cool. All my stuff's TP-Link. All of it. Joey, TP-Link makes 2 switches. They make CASA and TAPO, and I support both. I prefer CASA because it doesn't have any cloud authentication bullshit you have to deal with, but it's a one and done. Once you authenticate and you get the token, you're good, and you can just keep using the same auth token forever. All right, I'm really gonna get out of here, guys. I'm just gonna go lay down and sleep the day off, and hopefully I start feeling better. I need to get a lot of water in me too. I feel severely dehydrated. All right, peace out, guys. I'll catch you on the flippity flop. If I'm feeling better later, though, I might pop into Discord for a little bit. If you guys want to see that 3-body problem, or you want to see the crazy ass images generated by GPT Image 2, go look at Off Topic on Discord. Tech Brew Boss literally just typed in like some prompts with my name, and it created like perfect likenesses of me in all kinds of crazy scenarios, even spelled my name right on my clothing and stuff. It's getting insane. Like, I'm actually surprised that it can create images of this quality without you providing any base images. It's fucking wild. You guys should go see it. All right. Where's my tab here? All right. Peace out, guys. Catch you later.